Sherry Lodge went gate to wire in her turf debut. Can she stretch out that speed around 2 turns in the risk-averse? She will be the one to catch. We'll talk West Coast contenders for the Travers IRAP's Ohio Derby. All of a sudden looking a lot more interesting with a win over the eventual Haskell champion. And West Coast shipped east already in one in the easy goer on Belmonte. Can he outlast the competition again at 1.25 miles in the Travers this weekend? All that coming up in the show and a lot more here. Welcome to Saratoga Live on this Thursday afternoon. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Joining us just in time for the starts of the Late Pick 4 sequence. It begins in race 7, mile and 3/16 over the turf. Race 8, we have 4 horses returning from the John Morrissey Stakes who will do battle in that sprint on the main track. 9th race, our feature, the risk-averse, and we'll close things out with a wide open 2-year-old turf event at 1.16 miles. Track conditions are brought to you by John Deere. The main track is fast and the turf course is firm for this Thursday action. Another great crowd on hand, which is the case just about each and every day of this 40-day meeting here at Saratoga Springs. Looking forward to today's card. Greg Wolf and racing analyst Gabby Gaudet up here on the roof here as we get set to start our show. We're going to talk plenty about the Travers, of course, coming up. Haven't talked a whole lot this week about those West Coast contenders and how good does that Ohio Derby now from IRAP look, beating Gervin, who would go on to win the Haskell?
And never think that you'd say that and it'd be appetizing, but that's definitely the case there for IRAP. And, you know, IRAP, he was very fortunate to go wire to wire in the bluegrass and really a paceless race. But since then, he's stepped up against serious contenders and keeps on getting better. Now, in the Ohio Derby, he did get a fortunate setup in that Gervin kind of had to move a little bit early. He made that last move into the pace. But Indiana Derby, I mean, this is a horse who's coming off of 2 very confident wins, and Doug O'Neill doesn't ship in for nothing.
And then there is, of course, the Bob Baffert story. West Coast, appropriately named, is going to be coming out east again. He went to the easy goer, completely dominated that field, and then basically a walkover in that Los Al Derby. He was 1-9, or I should say 2-5 in that race. What do you think of West Coast?
He definitely is acclimated well here to Saratoga. You can see him galloping in the morning and really stretching his legs. The big question for him, though, Greg, is what really has he faced? Yes, he won the easy goer at ease, but he got a perfect pace scenario, and he beat Outplay, who is now being redirected for the Pennsylvania Derby. So this is going to be the real test for him in the Travers. 3
in a row. Again, the question mark for a lot of these horses, can they handle the 1.25 miles? But that's on everybody's plate. Meanwhile, back to West Coast. Bob Baffert assistant trainer Jimmy Barnes. Here's his thoughts on West Coast coming out east.
The West Coast shipped in very good, high energy level. Geez, went over the track so nice, just couldn't be happier. For the last couple of months, he's really starting to bulk up and grow a little bit, at least from our last trip to New York, and just couldn't be happier with the way he's developed. It's always good to have a fresh 3-year-old this time of year because there's, there's these races, the Midsummer Derby, and then, and we seem to each year have one, so we're just very fortunate. I think he's at his peak right now, for being a 3-year-old, being at the level he needs to be at to compete. I think we did the right thing by. There was talk about going to the Haskell. We went ahead and skipped the Haskell, ran him at Los Alamitos just to get another race in him, and then, the plan was always to come here.
So they pass on the Haskell. Fresh horse coming in for the Travers with more stationed outside his barn. Check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, talking about West Coast, is he up for the challenge of the Midsummer Derby, as Jimmy Barnes just said here on the East Coast? Now, his trainer, Bob Baffert, in regards to horses coming off wins in dirt routes into graded stakes here at Naira, well, he is hitting at 42% with a 389 ROI. But in regards to the Travers, he's only fired with 2 of his 8 horses. It's not a bad record, let's face it. It is a grade 1 event, but Also, West Coast is going to have to face the deepest field that he's faced thus far in his career, with all three of the Classic winners as well as horses who have won Grade 1s. Installed at 4-1 on the morning line, I think he's facing the much bigger task than what that morning line would suggest. But he is a horse that is versatile enough, and it seems as though going further, well, his numbers have gotten better, at least his buyers in the mile and an eighth Los Al Derby. So we'll see if he's up for the challenge of the mile and a quarter for the son of Flatter in West Coast. Greg?
Definitely a lot deeper waters in the Travers, but an improving horse. Bob Baffert looking to go back-to-back in this race. What do you think of West Coast?
I think he's definitely a player because, like we said, Bob Baffert doesn't chip in without good reason here, and he's always one to be respected. In terms of pedigree and getting the distance, that's never been a concern for me. Bob Baffert can take sprinters and stretch them out as far as they need to go in order to win. I just prefer others who have been battle-tested against better contenders.
Wide open Travers, yep. Wide open 3-year-old division, and a lot will get sorted out on Saturday in the Midsummer Derby. We cannot wait for an incredible card coming up this weekend, and a great time to get signed up and started so you can play today and this week on weekend on Travers Day by playing with Naira Bets. Bet 200, you will get 200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to take advantage. You can get signed up and play with Naira Bets all across the country. You also get exclusive access to the daily Naira Bets late Pick 5 with a 50-cent buy-in and minimum $150,000 single winner payouts. Race 7, it starts the late Pick 4 sequence, mile and 3/16 on the turf. New York breds in an allowance optional claiming race. And it is Pinchbeck, the 3-year-old filly right now, who is the favorite on the board for Christophe Clement. Let's bring in the rest of our team. Send it downstairs to New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, former New York Met and LA Dodger, Paul LaDuca. Guys.
I think one of the reasons that Pinchbeck is favored right now in this race is pace. Pace has become a big issue here, particularly in the turf courses that are so firm here with the little rain that we've gotten. And with the scratch of Mo Promise, the 4 Elo Storm, who appears to be somewhat overmatched, Paul, is loose. But Pinchbeck should be very close behind. I think that's what makes her doubly dangerous.
Well, it makes her really tough. And she's a player in here because when you look at Elo Storm, you're right. I mean, a wire-to-wire win last time almost for the 35 beaten Clammers at Monmouth Park. She was 49-1 that day. Do you want to take 49-1 on that day? Yes. We always say you don't want to go to the wedding and then end up going to the funeral, but Elo Storm here should not even be close to 24-1. It's cheap speed, so Pinchbeck is probably the horse that will lay off as you take a look at the 4. And yes, I say this all the time. Horses do get stretched like athletes.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the 6 Pinchbeck in a moment, but the 8 horse Table for 6. Table for 6 is going to end up the second choice looking at the doubles here, and obviously she has the talent to win this race, but she too is a bit of a closer in here. And when you see horses, and we've talked about this many times, Paul, when horses have 11 starts and 1 win in 6 seconds, she's been repeatedly in races she could have won and failed to get it done. These are the kind I think you let beat you in multi-race bets.
Yeah, she is. I mean, I've watched about 4 or 5 of her replays, and they're all the same. They've taken the blinkers off. They've tried everything with her, and she just continues to run second. She always gets up to the hip of the leader, and it looks like she just wants to say hello. And this is what happens to her. Last time, she sat a tremendous trip, and she's going to go up the fence. Is this the best way for a horse that doesn't love to win races? Yeah. Should be, because you're the shortest way around, but she gets right here every time, and she won't go by. Now, as soon as the 11 went by the 5, she goes by the 5. She just follows whoever's in front.
Yeah, she obviously has the talent to get it done, but she seems to find a horse to beat her every time. Now, the 10 Bariqua and the 11 Khaleesi Cat, and we'll talk about them in order, they're kind of coupled horses because they've been running together recently. Last time when they ran, they both were compromised by a turf course that was very much favoring inside and forwardly placed horses, and both ran poorly, much to do with the dynamics of the race and the racetrack. They ran together, this is the 10 Bariqua and the 11 Khaleesi Cat, on June 15th. And while Bariqua got the best of Khaleesi Cat, to me as a trip handicapper, even though a lot of people will say, well, Bariqua got stayed out at the start, she had more trouble, I disagree, because I think Bariqua was able to save ground last and angle out at the last possible moment, losing very little ground, where Khaleesi Cat was outside of horses, sort of in no man's land without cover the whole way, and Bariqua kind of swooped her, and I thought Khaleesi Cat was in the uncomfortable position inside of her and ran very well to finish just behind her. Maggie, what do you think of the 10 horse in this race?
Andy, what I think about her is that, Yes, her last race, well, it was a little bit suspect overall, but her races for trainer Danny Gargan, and especially this year, she has looked better than ever as far as her weight is concerned. I think she looks fantastic here, and she's nicely on the muscle, so she's fairly sharp as well. So obviously she is more of a deep closing type, but so is number 11 Khaleesi Cat. Now, both of these fillies, as far as this condition is concerned, they're 2 of the 3 that are running for the 25 tag. So they have those multiple wins. And as I've always said, I just prefer and lean towards these horses who know how to find their way to the winner's circle more so than the other ones who have only won 1 or 2 races. Khaleesi Cat, she's striding out beautifully here in the paddock, and we'll see. I mean, they're both posted towards the outside. They're both closers. They might be up against it from that standpoint, but from the physical perspective here in the paddock, I like what I see. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. So both the 10, Bariqua, the 11, Khaleesi Cat, they've been coming out of common races. They're going to need help up front, though, you would expect. There's not a ton of pace, Gabby, in this race. It looks like the 4 Storm could be all alone on the lead in this race. I
think Storm's going to be the main speed, and you're looking at 2 very different trainers here. Gabriel Goodwin, who sends out the 4 Storm, and then Christophe Clement, who sends out Pinchbeck. And you kind of look at the stats here. Gabriel Goodwin definitely likes to use speed more often, so I'd imagine that she's going to be forwardly placed, and Pinchbeck is going to be sitting just off of her. But Greg, table for 6, hear me now, she won't be far off of it either.
This race will kick off the late pick 4, 224,000 plus. That pool growing. Still 12 minutes to post to get down in the sequence. You could do so at NYRABets.com. We're going to step aside for a break in the action. Still to come on Saratoga Live. He's in the hall. Now he's ready to walk. Hall of Famer Ramon Dominguez joins us ahead of his induction. It is Saratoga's Walk of Fame on Friday.
Make NYRABets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NYRABets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NYRABets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NYRABets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NYRABets.com.
Claiborne Farms Flatter is carrying the flag for AP Indy, rewarding breeders in the sales ring and on the track. Among the nation's leading sires by Grade 1 stakes horses in 2016, this year's stars include Terrace, Upstart, Kobe's Back, Amy's Flatter, and most recently, Paola Queen, winner of the Grade 1 test stakes at Saratoga. Success on the track has led to big numbers in the auction ring as well, with yearlings this year selling up to $425,000. Flatter at Claiborne Farms.
Back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus, and there is New York Racing Association President and CEO Chris Kay delivering D. Wayne Lucas his plaque for the Walk of Fame. In 2013, NYRA began recognizing prominent thoroughbred industry owners, trainers, and jockeys. There's Bill Mott getting his replica of his Walk of Fame plaque as well. They also get the red jacket, the ceremony each and every Friday before the Travers every year. And ceremony coming up again tomorrow, where Ramon Dominguez, the Hall of Fame jockey, will get his red jacket and be inducted into the Walk of Fame as well. Tremendous crowd here on this Thursday afternoon on Travers Week here at Saratoga as we get set for a post parade here for race 7 to kick off this late pick 4 sequence. Again, if you're just tuning in, mile and 3/16 on the turf here. New York breds in this first leg of the sequence. And here's long shot Kitty Madness, trained by John Morrison. Kendrick Carmouche rides.
She at least has a recent win, and that came 2 starts back in June, but this is much deeper waters today.
Phil Serpy trains the 2, Jennifer's Legacy for Wellspring Stables. Luis Saez aboard.
Ran arguably her best career race last time, and she had some significant traffic trouble. Not an impossible long shot.
David Donk trains the 3/8 Commandment. Eric Consell aboard.
She does not have very much early speed, and that might hurt her in an overall paceless race.
The 1 to catch on the front end, Ello Storm for Gabriel Goodwin. Mike Luzzy aboard.
And catch her they will, Greg.
At 22-1, we'll see Sugar Mags, Ricardo Santana Jr. for Robert Barbera.
Tried to give her a class relief last time out. Didn't seem to wake her up. Now stepping back into stronger field.
Pinchbeck for Christophe Clement, 3-year-old filly facing Olders here with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
The horse to beat because she'll be stalking Ella Storm, taking over from that one, and has a pace edge in her rivals.
10 Penny Princess has Jose Ortiz for Bruce Brown.
Her better races seem to come at Belmont, and she's 0 for 5 over the Saratoga turf course.
She's table for 6, trained by Ralph Nix. John Velasquez rides.
Good enough to win, but an habitual bridesmaid.
Barica, the 10. It's Javier Castellano taking over for trainer Danny Gargan.
She's a deep closer with a talent to win it, but I'm afraid could be tailing off.
And Khaleesi Cat, 3-1 on the board. Jose Lezcano for Bill Mott.
It would likely be the favorite in here if there was a little bit more pace, as she is kind of pace dependent.
7 minutes to post here in this first leg of the late pick 4. Paul, where are you going to wind up in this race?
Well, I wind up on the outside horse. You can see my pick 4 here. I'm going to protect it because what Gabby said is key. If Khaleesi Cat was on the inside here, I would really love this horse. I think she's been better, actually, than Barica, the horse inside of her. I'm also going to use Pinchbeck because there is no pace, but I do think Khaleesi Cat's the one to beat. I'll tell you what, I like Weekend Hideaway. A little bit of a bobble at the start. I think gets the jump on Celtic Chaos in race number 8. In the risk reverse, you know what? I kept looking and looking. Cherry Lodge on the outside was so impressive, but I just don't love that post. I think Chubby Star, I'm going to go way deep in there. And then in race number 10, I'm leaving out the only other horse in there, Ron Burgundy, the 6, news anchor.
Hello, San Diego. There is a look at Pinchbeck. Paul, this one is on your ticket, the Clement filly. Maggie brought up an interesting point, though. She's facing Olders for 1, and she only has 1 win, a maiden score to her credit, facing multiple winners here.
Yeah, you know, the thing that is key for her is she's going to be able to sit in a nice spot. And we're at the time now in the year where the 3-year-old fillies are starting to take off a little bit, and they can run against Olders.
Yeah, I think one of the things going for her is that she doesn't have that many efforts, frankly, and she seems to be improving a bit.
Yeah.
She probably has to take a step forward. There are horses near a bit faster than her, but her tactical speed overcomes everything else. The fact she'll be sitting outside pretty much of an overmatched rival on a pretty tepid pace is going to make it very tough to run her down. And the 11, Khaleesi Cat, who both you and I like in here, Paul, she is a bit pace dependent. We'll see, though, if the mile and 3/16 hits her right between the eyes. Mile and 3/8 too far for her. Mile and 3/16 might be perfect.
Yeah, I'm with you. And her best race was from the outside slot where she didn't get a great trip, but the drop, and you make a good point about the 10 and the 11. They're almost the same horse. Whoever gets the better trip might win. I still think that 11's a tiny bit better than the 10 in here. And like Lezcano's going to have to work out a trip from that outside post. There's no doubt about that. She's going to have to be best. There's not a ton of pace in here. You're right.
He's going to have to drop back somewhat and hope for the best in here. I think the 2, Jennifer's Legacy, is a long shot that's worth at least mentioning in this race. Her last race against weaker, there's no doubt about it. And she did have a bit of an inside trip, probably too wide most of the way. She got kind of caught in traffic a little bit in the stretch and really think it was arguably her best race. I don't know if she's necessarily good enough, but she's a big price and she's well posted and coming off maybe her best effort ever.
We've seen the 40 non-2s play tough. I think a lot of people, obviously, because they know it's Saratoga, got to drop their horses into there. We've seen Yummy Bear come win another one, ran good. So we've seen some horses out of these 40 non-2s run well.
And you can do worse than take prices with inside position on the turf, Greg.
No doubt, Andy. Good point. Here's a look at table for 6. Trained by Ralph Nix on the board here at 7-2. This will be her second start here at the meet, with more on this 4-year-old filly by Mizzen Mast. Let's go to Maggie.
Well, Greg, what Gabby said was very intriguing about Table for Six, and that she would be more forwardly placed. So I caught up with her trainer, Ralph Nix, to see what kind of directions he gave Hall of Fame rider Johnny V. And what kind of directions do you give a Hall of Fame rider? Well, absolutely none. You just say good luck, and that's what he said. But he said to me he thought that he's hoping that everybody else kind of takes back, and he doesn't, with Table for Six, and that she is forwardly placed. And he said, given the way that she's been acting coming into this race, and that she should. And I was a little bit concerned that in the paddock she was very quiet, but out on the track she certainly had a bit more of a pep in her step. She's gotten a nice warm up as well. Now, just to circle back to my pick, I think Paulie's pick and possibly Andy's as well. I really like what I had seen from Khaleesi Cat out on the track too. Speaking of one that has a nice bounce to her stride and is just framed up beautifully here beneath jockey Jose Lascano. I think Khaleesi Cat has the experience going a distance like this, and she should be very dangerous, Greg.
And Gabby has Jose Lascano aboard, who has been making a lot of the right moves in turf races here at Saratoga.
He absolutely has, and like we said, though, she's going to have to work at a trip from the outside post and lack of pace.
Here is a look at 10 Penny Princess. No one's been making better moves than Jose Ortiz, leading rider at the meet. He had a 5-win day earlier this week. This horse trained by Bruce Brown, looking for the first win at Saratoga on the turf.
She went 1 mile and a 16th last time out, the mile before that, so she obviously was well off the pace in those types of races. But with that at distance, maybe she can find herself in the game a little bit more. The only thing with her, though, Greg, is that her better races seem to come at Belmont. She just hasn't quite found her footing here at Saratoga.
11-1 on the board on 10 Penny Princess. As we take a look at the 4, we talked about Elo Storm, who you're looking at as the lone speed likely in this race, and the fact that she might be absolutely by herself, Gabby, makes 24-1 somewhat intriguing, doesn't it?
Well, people probably think that that race was a little bit of a fluke, and that's why they're backing away from it. She was 49-1. She went to the lead. She almost won, and can lightning strike twice? We'll see. But she is going to get pressured from the 6 pinch back. I can't imagine that she's going to let her have a breather on the front end.
Andy, any kind of upside you see with Elo Storm? That was just her first try on the turf last out.
Well, I'm going to disagree a little and say that I doubt they're going too quickly up front in this race, and she will be in front if she breaks. Listen, I would never knock somebody for betting 25-1 shots. You want to take a positive approach? She's 1,000 times better on the turf than she ever was in the dirt, and she's a controlling speed, and of course that's favoring speed. Do I expect her to win? No, but she's 25-1. So somebody said to me they were using this horse. I imagine Paul feels the same way. How could you ever tell them not to bet it?
No, and here's the thing, and Irad Ortiz Jr. is probably thinking this. I'm going to let the 4 go to the front end because I'm going to go as slow as the 4 wants to go and turn this into a one-horse race, because I think I got to be better in a lot more class than the 4 in here. And she gets 3 more pounds being a 3-year-old filly. But
maybe they just don't run her down. Listen,
they're not.
None of us are betting
She's
on the 4
get
here.
Down. She got run down at Monmouth. She is not winning this race.
I see Gabby is interested in the long shot we talked about a little bit before, Jennifer's Legacy.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with her just because she's well posted as opposed to the other 2 outside closers. So I think that she could probably get in the game sooner. And as you mentioned, Andy, I thought that the pace kind of held together last time out. Yes, she saved ground, but she was rolling inside, weaving her way through traffic. So a lot better than maybe her last race looks on paper. And she won at Gulfstream. Look, she's going to get the class test, but I like where she's posted, and she's not impossible.
Getting set to load up. This kicks off the pick 4 sequence. That pull up and over $400,000. The favorite, Khaleesi Cat on the outside. Will she get any pace up front to chase down Bariqua coming out of a common race against her? They got no pace at all, either of them, the 10 or 11 in that last race. We will see what happens this afternoon. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
8th Commandment taking her spot in the starting gate will be followed by 10 Penny Princess, who moves into stall 7. Here is Table for 6 going in, along with Elo Storm. Next up is Bariqua stepping up to the starting gate. Sugar Mags takes her position, 1 left to load, and that is the current 3-1 favorite, Khaleesi Cat, who now is the second choice, is the 6 Pinchbeck has taken over the favorites role here. They're all in line. They're off. Hello Storm is sent out of there for early speed. On the inside, Kitty Madness. Jennifer's Legacy is right up in the early mix too. And in behind them comes Pinchbeck, who's 3 lengths off the lead early on. And then comes 10 Penny Princess running along in 5th. Followed by Table for 6, Khaleesi Cat on the outside, and Barika, followed by Sugar Mags and 8th Commandment. Hello Storm, the pacemaker here, going into the clubhouse turn in the clear by a length to Jennifer's Legacy, who's been guided outside after a 23.72 quarter. Then it's Kitty Madness in 3rd, Pinchbeck is 4th, and racing 4 lengths from the front around the clubhouse turn. Then 10 Penny Princess, Table for 6 on the inside, Barika, Khaleesi Cat together, 8 off the lead, just ahead of Sugar Mags. 8th Commandment trails the field onto the backstretch here. Mike Luzzy and Hello Storm make the pace through a 49.62 half mile, an easy half. Jennifer's Legacy, a length and 3/4 behind in 2nd. Kitty Madness races inside of Pinchbeck, who's comfortably positioned in 4th on the outside. Then it's Table for 6, 10 Penny Princess, Sugar Mags on the inside. There goes Khaleesi Cat beginning to run, and running quickly. Khaleesi Cat just stormed by 4 horses as they head for the far turn all the way up into 4th. So it's still Hello Storm in front, 3/4, 115.23. But the heat is on. Jennifer's Legacy draws up alongside in 2nd. A length farther back to Pinchbeck, 3rd on the outside of Kitty Madness. Khaleesi Cat made that big run on the backstretch and is now 5th and coming into the stretch, 3 wide. They're at the top of the stretch. Jennifer's Legacy has taken the lead here. Pinchbeck runs at her. Kitty Madness dashes through an opening on the inside, and coming up the fence too is Barika, who's found a seam under Javier Castellano. Pinchbeck in front. Barika to the inside runs on. These two 1-2. Kitty Madness 3rd between them, but it's Barika. Barika rides the inside to victory to beat Pinchbeck, who edges out Kitty Madness for 2nd. Table for 6 ends up 4th in 156.07.
It is Barika with the win. I was watching this race midway, and I was wondering when Javier Castellano was going to make his move. Dips down to the inside, saves ground in the stretch, and up the fence for the win.
And we totally saw a pace collapse up front. We saw, as we predicted, the long shot for Elo Storm go to the front end, and actually surprising speed from the two. Jennifer's Legacy, they set the early fractions. They faded and paved the way for some of those closers as we saw Barika guys come right through the hedge.
This was the tale of 2 rides here, and I'll let Paul expound on the not-so-special ride Khaleesi Cat got, but this was an exceptional ride by Javier Castellano, and maybe the Ortiz brothers have taken control around here, but the old pro and 4-time Eclipse Award winner, Javier Castellano, he completely outrode Jose Lezcano.
Oh, Jose Lezcano. By the way, the rider on the one actually left the rail, and you see, watch Castellano find the seam on the hedge. Wow, what a move right there when the one left the rail. Who had a lot of horse. That was a good move, actually, by Kendrick Carmouche. But, yeah, Jose Lezcano thought he had Jeff Gordon, number 24 card, and had like 17 gears.
The mistakes were made right at the start of this race, if you watch the start, where Javier was more relaxed with the 10 and letting him find position and looking to get in early. Jose actually tried to get early position. In doing so, he didn't have the speed to keep up, and he ended up falling behind the 10, even though he used the horse more early, and the 10 got coveted inside position, and the 11, Khaleesi Cat, was out in the clear the whole way, made a premature move.
You mean the
11, Khaleesi
4
Cat.
furlong middle move, and then don't continue with it, and then try again, usually works?
I think more entertaining the race, guys, would have been a camera on Paul and I watching this race.
That is a look at Jose Ortiz. He was momentarily there off his mount, 10 Penny Princess, but back aboard. But it's Barika who gets the win, and she still does have plenty, it looks like, left in the tank. She gets certainly a good trip. Brilliant ride from Javier Castellano. And we should give some props as well to Pinchbeck, the 3-year-old filly, who ran pretty good.
Oh, for sure. And I actually thought it was a savvy move by Irad Ortiz to take Pinchbeck off the pace. Obviously, if he had gone with the other speed in Elo Storm, it probably wouldn't have bode well for that particular filly. But no, you can't take anything against Javier Castellano. Barika, she saved all the ground.
Picks up her 5th career victory on the turf. Javier Castellano, Midwest Thoroughbreds, and trainer Danny Gargan, his tremendous Saratoga meeting continuing here as Barica with the win at 9-2 to start off the pick four. We'll be back with prices right after a short timeout. Still ahead, she is back. Two-time champion filly Songbird made Saratoga her personal playground last year. We'll talk about the personal ensign on Saturday next.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Back on Saratoga Live, and there is Barica, winner here of the 7th race. Javier Castellano aboard for Danny Gargan, Midwest Thoroughbreds. This filly got really good end of last year, beginning of this year at Florida. That good form continued into the spring in New York, and it continues here at the Spa. Returns $11.60 for the victory. 3-year-old filly Pinchback running second, and Long Shot. Wow, Kitty Madness at 33-1, completing that trifecta. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie, standing by with a trainer who's having a great meet.
Well, it's actually his owner here, Greg. Sorry, it was a mid-break switch here. We have Rich Papis of Midwest Thoroughbreds. Pleasure to be joined by you, and one of the leading owners perennially in the country. And Rich, about Barica, I heard Danny say since you claimed her nearly a year ago, 6 wins. She's been quite a producer for you.
Yeah, 4 here and 2 at Gulfstream. Excellent job by Danny, and she's done a great job. I mean, we placed her in the right place.
That's for sure. That's something you guys do very well, and that you're not afraid to take chances in claiming horses or losing them.
Well, that's about 99% of everything, where you put them and what you have.
And you seemed, though, to have a nice one that you bought at the Saratoga Fasig-Tipton sale last year, in Trouble for Skylar. She was very impressive in her maiden-breaking score, seeking the ante tomorrow as far as stakes are concerned.
Yeah, we're hoping that she's going to be even more impressive tomorrow.
Do you think that she can build upon that effort first time out?
Definitely. I think she's definitely alive, and I know Jeremiah has a good horse in there, and I'm glad we're outside of that horse, and we should be fine.
And something you started off claiming horses, but it seems as though that you're buying more horses. And do you like doing that?
Yeah, we're more in a buying mode nowadays. We have a small broodmare band, and that's about it. We buy about 20 horses a year, 25.
Excellent, Rich. Well, hope you have the best of luck tomorrow. Congratulations here with Barica, and enjoy Travers Weekend with your wife.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back to you.
Always a little easier to enjoy a big weekend like Travers Weekend when you can get into the winner's circle. Well, down my Midwest Thoroughbreds, what color will the canoe be painted after Saturday? We'll find out coming up this weekend in the Travers. 8th race coming up next. 6.5 furlongs, New York bred allowance race, and 4 horses, Gabby, returning from the John Morrissey Stakes.
And this is a very interesting race. So curious to see that Celtic Chaos is opening up as your 3-2 favorite, because I saw it very differently than that. But the big question is, what is the pace scenario going to be like, as Bustin' It is very, very fast.
Yeah, we'll get more into it in just a little bit here. Celtic Chaos looking for his 4th win in a row. I want to remind everybody, Naira Bets, the only place outside the state of New York you can play the Naira Bets Late Pick 5. We've seen some incredible payouts this meet. It has become absolutely one of the best values in all of racing. The minimum single winning payout, $150,000 and $300,000 on Saturdays. Find details and play the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 nationwide at nairabets.com. Must be a Naira Bets account holder to get that single winning minimum payout. Here's the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 follow along. Started with I Wish Irish, and then Barica returning 1160. Long way to go, though.
We do have a long way to go, and hopefully some really nice prices, as I Wish Irish was pretty heavy favorite there.
Saturday, not only about the Travers and the Triple Crown Showdown, some pretty big star power on the undercard as well, including 2-time champion Songbird returning to action. Of course, she was sensational here, Gabby, last summer, winning the Coaching Club American Oaks and the Alabama.
And she is 2-5 for good reason. Not only does she hold the best record going into the personal ensign, Greg, but she also looks like the lone speed in there. And look, last year she came in, she acclimated very well to Saratoga. She is just a workhorse through and through.
But there have been question marks about each of her wins coming back. They've not been as brilliant as some people want to see, right?
Exactly. And after her defeat in the Breeders' Cup Distaff last year to Beholder, yes, we haven't maybe seen the same horse that we saw last year. But she is just something really special, and it's going to take someone to run her down on the front end. I would try to go against her in the personal ensign, but she looks like the lone speed.
Yes, she does. She's going to be all by herself, it would appear. Here's her trainer, Jerry Hollendorfer, on how she is adjusted to being back east.
And I'm kind of surprised how cool it is here, but she likes that. And it's similar to the weather down at Del Mar at this time of year. So you get into the 70s, but it's nice and cool. And Songbird settled in really well. Our security guy here put us in the same stall and everything, so she acts like she knows where she is. I don't know if that's true, but it seems like she does know where she is.
I think she knows exactly where she is. I won 2 grade 1s here, she says, at this meet last summer. Meanwhile, her main competition in the race, I said this on the show with you yesterday, everyone talks about that great matchup between Beholder and Songbird in the distaff. Right behind them, hitting the board, of course, was Forever Unbridled.
Absolutely, and she is very, very talented. And we saw Unbridled in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, she was just trying to catch Beholder and Songbird and just couldn't quite do it. And her last race in the Fleur-de-Lis set her up very nicely. It came back a very good race as she kind of just closed when the pace held together. So she's got a lot of talent, but the pace scenario works against her in the personal ensign.
She's a multiple grade 1 winner. She's coming off a huge performance at Churchill Downs. Trainer Dallas Stewart, though, was asked what to do with a lone leader in front in Songbird. Here's what he had to say.
We're going to leave that up to Rosario. Hopefully, you know, she'll be in our sights at the quarter pole, and, you know, it'll be a horse race from there. So we know we'll be back a little bit, but I'm sure that Rosario will take care of it. She's traveled well. She's trained well. She looks great. She looks like actually that she's put on some weight. You know, everything looks good. She's going to need it because it's going to be a great race.
Trainer Dallas Stewart there, guys, talking about Joel Rosario and the decisions he will have to make in this race. She was brilliant in that fleur-de-lis. What do you do, though, when the pace plays against you like it should in the personal ensign on Saturday?
Well, I think we don't have to go any farther back than Monday's Evan Shipman and Governor Malibu, who Joel Rosario rode. And Diversify had the big pace edge. Diversify also had a talent edge, a big talent edge, and I'm not sure that's the case in this race. And Joel did everything he could to give Governor Malibu his best chance to win. And I think he'll do just that in what is basically a two-horse race.
So you're trying to tell me Songbird's going to win and you're going to be upset again?
I won't be upset if she wins. I feel bad for her fans like poor Greg, who thinks that if you gave her a paintbrush, she could paint the Sistine Chapel on the roof of her stall. I think she's a wonderful horse who had a tremendous campaign last year, who's not nearly as good as people like Greg think she is. But Greg's a fanboy. I get it.
So you're not a fan of Beholder either. So when she dueled Beholder, Forever and Bridal didn't get to set up that day?
Well, it was at moderate pace. I think Beholder's a wonderful horse as well. I think both of them are really, really nice fillies. They're not in the class of the Rachel Alexandras and the really great ones we've seen, the Go for Wands and Ruffians. I think it's disrespectful to the history of the game to suggest that they were better, but Songbird is a wonderful horse. I do think people are fooled by horses' records. They're fooled by undefeated horses. They tend to think they're better than they are, and mostly it's about setups. But what Songbird has, first of all, her connections are afraid of no one, and I love that. And they ship her, and they run her in every spot, and they're open to everybody, and she runs and she wins them, and she's terrific.
Andy,
and her speed
you bring up
makes
a
her
good
terrific.
point.
I'm sorry, we'll give her an umbrella. We'll give her a paintbrush, Greg, and she'll paint your apartment for you.
Two things for you, Andy Serling. First of all, that horse art, I have bought some in the past, so I didn't know you knew that. Have you been into my house?
I know a lot about you, Greg.
Secondly, people do get fooled a lot, but you seem to get fooled by champion horses, thinking they're not as good as they are, because time and time again, Andy thinks champion horses and horses of all time are not as good as they were.
I analyze horses in the face of fanboys, so I have to do it sometimes. I'm willing to be the bad guy, and when Forever and Bridal rolls by her in the stretch, I'm not going to gloat. I'm just going to silently cash.
I honestly think, Paul, Andy Serling, if he could, and they gave him a key to the Hall of Fame across the street, he'd go and take some of the plaques off the wall.
Absolutely. No, I'm not sure I need a key.
Yeah, it's true. Here's the thing is, he keeps looking at those Delaware replays, and they just don't come home slow. It's deception, Gabby. Will you tell him they don't come home fast at Delaware?
She just keeps winning and winning and winning. I'll get you a box of tissues for after the race there, Andy.
Still, I mean, you looked. There is concern. You look at that Delaware handicap victory, and there was a horse who should have been nowhere near her at the end and was.
The thing is about Songbird, even though she did go a little bit, it wasn't visually as impressive as what we saw last year. She does not let horses pass her, regardless. So if she's on the lead in the personal ensign, good luck.
All right, we'll see. There was not a horse the caliber of Forever Unbridled in that Delaware handicap. There will be on Saturday. We'll see what she can do, even though the pace will be against that Daughter of Unbridled's song. We're on a special early time on Travers Day on Saturday, so make note of that. We are on at 2 Eastern time. We're usually on at 4, 2 to 4:30 Eastern. That is the lineup we'll have. Personal ensign, Ballerina, Alan Jerkins, and Forgo. It will be sensational, and you don't want to miss it. We'll be back with a lot more Saratoga Live right after this.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
You're watching Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Thanks for being with us. Various other regional networks across the country with us as well. This 8th race coming up next. 6.5 furlongs on the main track. It is Celtic Chaos right now, the favorite, trying to win a 4th consecutive race. But, Gabby, there is some serious speed in this race, including the 6-horse Bustin' It, who was on a little win streak of his own.
For sure, and that's maybe why Celtic Chaos is so appealing right now, is given the pace scenario. But the 6 Bustin' It is extremely fast, and he himself is coming off 4 consecutive victories, all at short prices. But the problem is we've got Rectify towards the outside, and we also have Weekend Hideaway, 3 horses who all figure to show a lot of speed. And we'll take a look at Bustin' It. This was his victory last time out when he was bet down to 75 cents to the dollar. There wasn't a lot of other pace in there, though, Greg. So
no.
And he kind of he started getting unfocused in the second half of the stretch there. So I would say that even though there is other pace in here, he's going to go.
And it's completely different caliber of field that day than what he's got to deal with this afternoon.
Correct.
9-2 on the board on Bustin' It. For more on this group, let's send it down to the paddock with Maggie.
And Greg, as you and Gabby talk about Bustin' It having to face a different caliber, how about the Millionaire Weekend Hideaway in here? As he is kind of second off that little bit of a layoff, he had some foot issues that kept him away from the races from late May to August 11th, where he faced open company in the tail of the cat. Phil Serpy, his trainer, wheels him right back here against the New York breds. He is tighter, much tighter for having that race under his belt, and I respect this horse. Yes, some of his best races have come when he's on the front end, but he's versatile. He's an old, gritty veteran that knows how to find his way to the winner's circle. So if those horses decide to go off, I think he can sit right off of it and take that into consideration, that he can kind of close into a pace as well from right off of it. Moving on to number 5, T Loves a Fight. Now, he's one of the 3-year-olds in here, and he's going to be a price, but I just thought he looked very good. One that kind of caught my eye overall as he gets back on a dry track. Obviously, while he's handled a dry track in the past, John Morrissey was a bit of a tall task, but still he ran his race. He ran respectable, I think, and we'll see if he can build upon that. He's certainly kind of a fringe player, I think, for his connections. Moving on to the outside runner, that is Fish Trap Road, and this guy's just shy of 600,000. And talking to his trainer, Brett Calhoun, who gelded him right before this race. Also, last race, they tried to put blinkers on him. He just has, once again, a very short cut blinker on, and is in regards to the horse being gelded, Brett said that he hasn't noticed a lot mentally, which is why he initially gelded him, but physically, the way he's moving, he's finding that he's moving a lot freer, he's pushing off a bit better, and that has impressed him. So he's fairly optimistic about Fish Trap Road coming back to the races as a gelding this time around. Andy, your thoughts?
I think it's an interesting race, and it'll be interesting to see how the pace plays out. And keep in mind, it's 6.5 furlongs. We talked about this yesterday. So if you see 21 and 4, they're not flying along.
No.
And there are 2 real speeds here. The long run-up creates very fast early fractions. But, Paul, the thing that is best about the 3 Weekend Hideaway is he has the speed and he's able to rate. So even if it doesn't get blistering up front, he can get the position, whereas some others are pace-dependent.
It's his race to lose. If he breaks well, you have the 1A Brimstone, you have the 2 Rectify, you have the 6 Bustin' It. Now, he breaks from the 2 slot here because Brimstone breaks from, actually 3 slot, Brimstone from the 2 slot. He should sit right in that garden spot and get first run on the 2 other closers in here, which is T Loves a Fight and Celtic Chaos.
Yeah, I actually prefer T Loves a Fight, not just because he's a better price. And by post time, the 3 is going to be favored. Weekend Hideaway is a real favorite. But Celtic Chaos, who's in great form and can win, will be second choice. I actually prefer T Loves a Fight, partly because he's a better price, but also because when he tried to move last time, while Celtic Chaos was moving on the outside, this was the one day this meet that you did not want to be towards the inside. And T Loves a Fight made the move on the inside, angled off a little bit, but then angled back down towards the inside to find room to run through, and I think was hampered by trying to rally inside of horses where Celtic Chaos had that clean outside run. Is it enough to make up the gap? I'm hoping it is, and I think the differences in their price will be commensurate.
Yeah, it will be. I thought Ostarenko ran tough in defeat there, and Joe Bravo did a good job actually drifting out and pointing himself at Celtic Chaos. You can see the Celtic Chaos, for a closing sprinter, he rarely throws in a clunker. Usually those horses are pace dependent. Even if it's slow or not, he always makes his run.
There's a look at Celtic Chaos. 2-1 current favorite on the board. Kieran McLaughlin having another tremendous meet, and that 4-year-old will try and make it 4 consecutive victories. He did it on a muddy track last time out as he tries to win for the second time here at the meet.
And Paul makes a very good point in that, yes, he has had favorable situations in the past where the paces come back to him, but you got to love a closing sprinter that always seems to figure it out and shows up, especially in the last couple of races.
And right there, a look at the horse who was just recently gelded. That was a 9, who Maggie was touching on, Fish Trap Road. It's a horse who has some back class as well. Former winner of the Grade 3 Dwyer back when he was a 3-year-old.
I have always loved this horse. I jump off the wagon today. You know what that means. He's in the winner's circle.
Look out, 9-1. He's actually taken some support as well. He was 15-1 on the board. Packed house. Look at that paddock. Not a seat to be had as we get set for our post-parade coming up. And we'll see if Celtic Chaos can make it 4 in a row, but it's a good group lined up for this field. Here's the remaining half of the entry. This is Brimstone, trained by David Jacobson and Javier Castellano for Final Turn Racing Stables.
Another horse with early speed, but he may find himself a bit outrun today. He's been fast, though.
Rectify, he is real quick. He's also a horse for course 2 for 2 here. It's David Canizzo off the claim with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Yeah, it goes from Jose to Irad, and you're right, wired him last time out. Going to have to push from the rail today. Going to be a tough task.
Weekend Hideaway, he loves it here. 4-time winner at Saratoga, trained by Phil Serpi with Luis Saez.
Probably a better horse on a wet track, but proficient on dry tracks as well, and his tactical speed makes him the horse to beat.
And here's a look at the only 3-year-old in the field. T Loves a Fight, trained by Michelle Nevin with John Velasquez.
I'm hoping on a fast track he can make that big run in here and get the pace to do it.
Another burner on the front end here is the Speedster busting it. Robert Falcone with Manny Franco.
I'm looking for 5 in a row and 7 out of the last 8, but it's going to have to clear the 2 inside horses.
Celtic Chaos, he just won the John Morrissey on a muddy track here at Saratoga on July 27th. Eric Cancel rides for Kieran McLaughlin.
$380,000 in the bank for the son of Dublin, and he brings his game every time. Look for him late.
And recently gelded the 9 Fish Trap Road for Martin Racing Stable. Ricardo Santana Jr. for Brett Calhoun.
Finally gets a dry track in a sprint. That's what he wants to do, and he's good enough to win this at a big price.
That is your field for race 8. The favorite, Celtic Chaos. Can he make it 4 in a row? We will find out shortly. Approaching the 7-minute mark to post. We're going to take a break in the action. There is Mind Your Biscuits. He's getting a Breeders' Cup Sprint rematch. Can he get the better of Dre Fong this time around? We'll talk his race coming up.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up With the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Runner-up in the Grade 1 Manhattan and Shadwell Turf Mile, Ironicus ran 7 triple-digit buyers, including this score in the Fort Marcy Stakes. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, getting set for race 8 coming up. Want to remind everybody you can earn a 10% winner's bonus on the late pick 5 on the stakes-filled Travers card on Saturday. Sequence starts in race 9 at Saratoga with the Grade 1 Forego. Also includes a Sword Dancer, Woodford Reserve Ballston Spa, and Travers Stakes presented by Naira Bets. Find details and play the late pick 5 bonus nationwide at nairabets.com. Got to play with Naira Bets to get that 10% bonus. There is a look at Weekend Hideaway. He has become the favorite. 4-time winner here at Saratoga. With more, let's go to Maggie.
He's won a lot of his races, Greg, that's for sure. He knows how to find the winner's circle. He's 12 for 40 lifetime with over $1 million in earnings, and I'm joined by his owner of Red and Black Stable, Mike Hoffman. And Mike, a horse that you bought out of the Flying Z dispersal sale, and he has done nothing but good for you.
It's been amazing, and Phil recommended we buy 4 of the horses out of the dispersal sale because he helped breed for Flying Z, Carl and Vi. So it's been an amazing experience.
And kind of going full circle, you've been with Phil Serpa, your trainer, for 17 years, and you claimed your very first horse back here at Saratoga. Talk about that.
We did. Phil's like part of my family, and Lisa and Phil. And 17 years ago, we claimed Truly Top Flight here, a $50,000 claim, and he won, I think, 4 races in a row after that.
Well, you've had a good bit of success here in this game, that's for sure. But Weekend Hideaway, he's got a second off that little bit of a layoff. Faced Open Company in the Tail of the Cat last time. What do you think about his chances here?
I think he's ready. I think we have a really good shot, and we'll see how we do.
And he's been a horse that can be on the lead or he can sit off of it. Are you thinking that he's going to be sitting off of it today?
I mean, I'm not sure what Phil and Luis spoke about, but Luis has ridden him, I think, 10 times in a row. So whatever he thinks is best, but I think we'll probably sit off.
Well, Mike, it was a pleasure talking to you. Best of luck here with Weekend Hideaway.
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. And Greg, back to you.
Maggie, thanks. There he is. He actually ran in the Morrissey last year, and then he came back to essentially win this condition at this meet. This year he opted for the much tougher Tail of the Cat, but we'll see if he can come back and win this condition here again. Again, he is your 2-to-1 favorite right now. Guys, I'll send it down to you downstairs now on this horse, Fish Trap Road. The recent gelding, we'll see if that'll wake him up a little bit here. He's taking play on the board.
One of the things I look for as a handicapper are legitimate excuses for losses, and horses that I like to say are dirtied up by circumstance. And if you look at him and you say he's not a horse that really likes a wet track, well, he's run in 3 wet tracks in his last 4 starts, and the only dry track race was a 1.16 mile race. This is a stakes quality horse in sprinting, 1-turn races. So arguably his last 4 races are major excuses. Before that, he finished 6th, but that was in the Grade 3 Commonwealth, and he still got an 88 buyer. And before that, he finished 3rd off a layoff to the very good Whitmore in a stake race at Oaklawn. What has he really done wrong other than running at the wrong distance and on the wrong track?
Well, you make a good point on, he ran up against Dre Frong, Awesome Slew, AP Indian. That Commonwealth broke apart, and he was part of that pace. The issue with this horse, he has very bad gait issues, and I wonder if that's why they gelded him. Because listen, Greg, you never want to geld a Grade 3 winner,
Welcome to Saratoga Live, and welcome to those just joining us on Altitude Sports Network. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. You're joining us just in time for the start of race 8. 3 races left on today's card. You can get signed up and started and play along with the races that we're bringing you all across the country by getting signed up with Naira Bets. Bet 200. You'll get 200 in your account using the promo code PICK5. Go to nairabets.com all across the country to get signed up and started. Greg Wolf, Gabby Gaudette, Andy Searling, Paul LaDuca, and Maggie Wolfendale with you on this Thursday afternoon on Travers Week as we work our way to a tremendous weekend of racing. But Gabby, this race coming up, pretty loaded as well. A lot of intriguing storylines, and right now it is Weekend Hideaway, who is no match for Stallwalkin' Dude in the Tail of the Cat, who is the horse to beat here coming back out of that race.
And you said it just there. Star Walking Dude is a horse that he faced last time out, and even Loose on the Town. These are two pretty legitimate horses that he faced last time, and I just think he has the class edge here. And also, yes, he's fast, but he's also tactical.
And it looks like you guys, or at least Paul agrees downstairs, is you're selecting this one as well, Paulie.
Yeah, I am, because if you look 3 back and watch that race, he was better than Celtic Chaos. He got dead left, did all the dirty work early. Celtic Chaos went by him late. We talked about how the 8 loves to try. I just think the 3 will be a little bit off the pace. I know, Andy, you're thinking for a horse off the pace here, you're going to go with the 5 for the better price.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with the 3. I do think he's the horse to beat. I agree with every single thing you've said with him. I just think he's an interesting horse. He really improved for Mike Hushin and moved into Michelle Nevin's barn when Mike Hushin retired. I'm making a 3-5-7 exacta box. I think Celtic Chaos is vulnerable, but obviously dangerous here. No, I'm not making 3-5-7 box. The 7 scratch, the boxing 3-5-9 actually is my box. Excuse me, misspoke there. Anyway, back to T Loves a Fight. I want to see what he can do on a dry track. He hasn't been on a dry track since he won at Aqueduct. It was second, actually, at Aqueduct to Gold for the King, but that was a very good effort at that time. I just think he's talented enough to get it done, an improving 3-year-old.
And again, the only 3-year-old in this field. There is one of 3 extremely quick horses, Gabby, in this field, busting it. But there's also Brimstone and Rectify to deal with.
Exactly, and Rectify draws the rail post position, and he only has one way to run, and that's to go to the lead as well. So I can just foresee these two trying to get that position on the front end. But busting it, he's very fast. He just hasn't faced the quality of horses that others have faced in here.
Yeah, you look at his win, 2 back guys. I mean, that came against New York bred 25 Claiming Company, although he's won 4 in a row.
Well, he's sharp. You can't get over that. I mean, 4 in a row, and if you let him loose on the lead, so many times we think 3 or 4 horses, and again, the 9 is not slow in here. He's been running against some fast horses. One of them gets away, and then they get tough, but I just don't see 4 speed horses. 2 of them have to hook up in here.
Yeah, I think you've got at least 2.5 speeds here, and they're going to be moving. And listen, Bustin is a very cool horse who does nothing but win, but as Gabby said, this is a much tougher spot.
No question it is. We'll see if Bustin' It is up to it. You know, a lot of times we see all this speed in a race, and it doesn't always play out that way. Can you even try to imagine who's the quickest of the quick? Most aggressive rider is probably on Rectify, right?
Manny Franco is pretty sharp, I will say. And so far at this meet, he's been paying attention to races. He's been handicapping them. He's been very savvy so far. So I would imagine he's going to get aggressive with Bustin' It because he really has no other way to go but to go to the lead. And he's very fast.
There is Manny Franco. We'll see if he can get to the front here on one of 3 speedsters in this 8th race. But the favorite, Weekend Hideaway, getting away from Millionaire Stall Walking Dude. We'll see what he can do against this field here for Phil Serpy. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown. For the call, Larry Colmus. Take it away.
Bustin' It now taking his position in the starting gate. 8-5 right now on Weekend Hideaway. As Bustin' It moves in. Waiting now for the last 2 to load. Celtic Chaos and Fish Trap Road. They're all in line. They're off. Bustin' It goes out to the early lead and opens up to lead by 2 right away from Fish Trap Road, Weekend Hideaway, Brimstone, and Rectify on the inside. T Loves a Fight is second last, and Celtic Chaos, who actually broke very well, is at the rear of the field, racing 7 lengths off the lead up the backstretch. It's Bustin' It in front. Clear a length and a half from Fish Trap Road, Weekend Hideaway, third on the inside, 21.8 the opening quarter mile. T Loves a Fight is racing on the outside of Brimstone with a half mile to run, then Celtic Chaos and Rectify. Around the far turn, Bustin' It leads the way. On top by a length over Fish Trap Road, Weekend Hideaway waits for a spot behind them in third. After that, it's T Loves a Fight. Celtic Chaos moves up on the outside of Brimstone, 4 lengths off the lead. Rectify at the back of the pack, 44.2 5.9 they're into the stretch. And busting it, turns for home in front. Weekend Hideaway is there. T-Love's a fight. Celtic Chaos closing on the far outside. It is busting it coming by the 8th pole in front. T-Love's a fight. Attacks on the outside. Now takes the lead. T-Love's a fight to the front. Taking over. Weekend Hideaway takes second. Celtic Chaos takes third. T-Love's a fight wins it by 2. Weekend Hideaway was second, and then Celtic Chaos and busting it in a final time of 1 minute 15.41 seconds.
Well, the pace tool we expected up front never materialized. Bustin' it got the lead all to himself. But in the end, the 3-year-old gets the win. T-Love's a fight, beating Elders here.
And a very good job by John Velasquez making sure to position. But you almost wonder a little if T-Love's to fight took him into that position. And we watched this live, and we could both see, Paul and I, that T-Love's a fight was in a very good position. The pace still didn't materialize, but as Gabby pointed out correctly, Bustin' is just not as good as these. T-Love's a fight is.
Yeah, and you know, Weekend Hideaway sort of likes a fight, but he was just going to get outgunned by the 5 who's got more pace. Rectify in the beginning of this race, not Rectify, excuse me. Brimstone, the 1-8, was very rank in the beginning of this race. 6 was able to clear, but no doubt about it, he made a great point, as in T-Love's a fight, broke a tiny bit sideways, but was sitting in a good spot, Gabby, and a horse that has finished, he just had a feeling was going to outfinish the 3 here, Weekend Hideaway.
I thought T-Love's a fight ran a huge race. Now, I know that the 6 Bussin' It did kind of fade late, but Weekend Hideaway, who arguably is a better horse, had every opportunity to close at the same rate that T-Love's a fight did, and he just did not deliver. This was a huge performance by him. And also, talking about the pace scenario that didn't ensue, crazy to see the 2 Rectify. He broke well. He just did not show any speed from the rail.
You know what's funny about that, Orest, and I'm glad that Gabby brought it up, is that Rectify is like that. Sometimes he has incredible speed like last time. I know Greg will remember 2 back we were doing the show together, and I was arguing with him and said, oh, Rectify, he's a cinch to be the speedier. Kendrick was riding him out of the gate, and he had no speed. He's a fickle horse. Some days he's fast, and some days he just has no speed.
I wonder what happened at the beginning of this race. Again, it looked like the 1A got ranked. The other speed in here, Brimstone, and when T-Love's a fight sort of got out to the outside of him, he backed out of it, but Bustin' just got to the front very easy, guys.
Well, and not only was Rectify not there, who was last early in this race, by the way, but Brimstone, the 3rd of the speedsters, he was pretty far back as well. I think he was 2nd or 3rd to last in this field, so Manny Franco got everything the way he wanted it in this race.
Yeah, nobody else showed up but Bustin' It.
In the end, it's T-Love's a fight. 3-year-old gets the job done here in the 8th at Saratoga. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with more coming up. Cherry Lodge took a field, gate to wire on the front end in her turf debut. She's making the walk over to the paddock now. She'll try to wire him one more time in the risk averse. Coming up when we return.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at nyrabets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on nyrabets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Back on Saratoga Live and into the winner's circle here in race 8 at Saratoga. The only 3-year-old in this group. T Loves a Fight. John Velasquez, the Hall of Famer for Michelle Nevin. Owned by Hoffman Thoroughbreds. $16.20 for the win. Weekend Hideaway, Celtic Chaos complete the trifecta. But it's T Loves a Fight who gets the money. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie for more.
Thanks, Greg, and I'm here with Michelle Nevin. And Michelle, you said to me, boy, Johnny really gave T Loves a Fight a great ride. Talk a little bit about the trip he got today.
Well, you know, he rode him to perfection. It worked out great, exactly like he felt it would. You know, the speed wins. He had great position. And when he asked him to go, he fired.
And second start for you. Last time he caught a muddy track in the John Morrissey. Does he just seem as though he's that much better on a dry track? And plus, he's a 3-year-old beating some pretty nice horses.
Yeah, he seems to have really trained well up here. You know, he's never really done anything wrong, and I guess the track last time did have a major effect on him in that sense, you know. But he did good today.
And a horse that, do you think about open company, maybe a stake restricted to 3-year-olds, or do you keep him against New York breds?
Well, we're just going to see how he comes out of this race and see how he comes along and make decisions then.
Well, speaking about greatest stakes horses, in the Ballerina by the Moon, second place finisher last year. How's she doing? And you like the 7 furlongs, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's shown up many times at 7 furlongs. She loves Saratoga. She's training great. I'm excited.
We're excited too. Michelle, congratulations here. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Maggie.
All right, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Michelle Nevin, what a win here, beating a very good field there with the 3-year-old. T Loves a Fight. Set the stage for our feature race, this 9th here, mile on the inner turf. It is the risk-averse with a purse of $100,000. And right now, no surprise, Cherry Lodge, the speed to catch in this race. John Velasquez will try and go back-to-back here, and Saratoga will be aboard. We'll see if she can take them gate to wire once again. She did that in her turf debut last time out. Plenty to talk about with the risk-averse coming up, but joined right now on the set by a very special guest, Hall of Famer Ramon Dominguez. What a career he had. 3-time Eclipse Award-winning jockey. And that is a look at the only dead heat for the win in the history of the Travers, which of course we have coming up this weekend. What a moment in that race. Alpha and Golden Ticket could not separate either of them. Ramon joining us on the set right now. What was that moment like for you? And did you know you had won the race, or what did you feel coming out of it when you crossed the wire?
Oh, it was a great moment, and honestly, neither I or David Cohen knew who won the race. We passed the wire, and I asked him, what do you think? And he said, I don't know. It could have gone either way. So coming back, of course, you were hoping for the win, but I was already settling. I said, if this was at the heat, I'll be happy. And sure enough, it was at the heat, and happy to be in the books with, even if it's halfway with the Travers win.
Last year, I know, had to be so special for you. You started riding, I believe, you're about 16 years old, but you actually started in show jumping. Isn't that true?
That is correct, yes. I did show jumping back in my native land, Venezuela, for 1 year.
To start out like that and to reach the pinnacle of the sport, become one of the very best who has ever done it, and to have that moment in the Hall of Fame last year, what was that like for you?
Well, it was really hard to describe. Just when I was called with the news that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame, I couldn't hold the tears. I cried. My wife thought that something bad happened, and just your whole career goes before your eyes in a matter of seconds, and it was just a wonderful moment.
You obviously put so much into this game to reach the pinnacle of this sport. You're going to be honored again on Friday. Going to get a red jacket in the Saratoga Walk of Fame here. And, of course, you did so much at Saratoga. Set the all-time record for victories here in a single meet with 68 victories. That was back in 2012. And this is as competitive as it gets here at Saratoga. What's it like competing here as compared to maybe anywhere else in the country?
The level of competition, like you say, is extremely high from any level, whether you set the horses, jockeys, of course. I mean, this is a group of riders who are just the best anywhere. And also what adds to how demanding and how crazy it can be is just how short the meet is. So a win will separate a position in the standings, and because of that, everybody's on their toes. So a victory doesn't come that often sometimes, and we savor them very, very much. So winning here in Saratoga is a pleasure, really. It's a privilege to be competing here.
And for those that don't know, Ramon was at the very top of the sport. And, of course, an injury cut short your career. But how difficult was that for you to make that transition, and how much do you miss it?
First, well, I do miss the sport. I miss the profession and many aspects of it more than others. Winning, I don't think anything can replace the feeling of winning, especially when you feel like you contribute to the success of this horse. And the transition was something that, of course, it comes with a great deal of what I call grief, because you feel like you're losing part of you. You can help to being connected with what you did for a living, especially when you love and you enjoy so much your profession. But I got to a point where my wife was actually instrumental, saying, we need to go to the track, let's go. And against my will, I came here. And to my surprise, it was something that I enjoyed very much. And from then on, it was just easy for me to come to the track and enjoy the sport.
One of the best to ever do it, Ramon Dominguez, 3-time Eclipse Award winner, tremendous ambassador for the sport as well, and a Hall of Famer. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back. More to come on the show. The Risk Averse is next. Risk Averse, of course, winner of the Flower Bowl back-to-back years. This was in 2004 at 8-1. I wanted her next year when she won at 35-1. Risk Averse is next.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With his much-anticipated first foals hitting the ground this year, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion, Lee, at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live, and there is the great Alan Jerkins, the chief, one of the greats at scoring the big upsets, and of course the Woody Stevens, now known as the Alan Jerkins. As we get a look at the field, loaded with talent. Bob Baffert, of course, with American Anthem. I should say he's formerly known as the King's Bishop, now the Alan Jerkins. But Cole Front, Gabby, winner of the Grade 2 Amsterdam, perfect 3 for 3 for Todd Pletcher. Went gate to wire here on the Saratoga track back on July 29th.
He did, and he was very, very impressive. And this is a horse who has actually contested against other speed types in his races, and he just bats it off like it's absolutely nothing and keeps on running. Now, this is the farthest that he's ever had to go, and I guess the question is how much of those races take out of him, because they have been hard fought to the finish.
Huge number he ran in this race. He got a 105 buyer for this performance, on the lead every step of the way. And we'll see if he can do it again now against considerably tougher competition. He'll have the likes of American Anthem with Bob Baffert to deal with, but on this day, no one could touch him.
And he's very fast. I will say, though, in his first couple of races, though, Greg, we actually saw him rate earlier in the first half of the race. He was just so much the best that he inherited the lead, but he's going to have to employ that tactic, because I don't think he's going to outrun a horse like Phi Beta Express.
Well, meanwhile, a horse who can sit off the pace a little bit. He was a winner of your Woody Stevens. That was at Belmont on the Belmont Undercard Day. That is American Anthem for Bob Baffert. He has reeled off back-to-back victories, both coming at 7 furlongs.
Exactly. So that's a feather in the cap that he's capable of going this tricky 7/8 distance. And he's coming off a very fast race last time out in the Woody Stevens. So he's just been a horse that's been incredibly strong since turning back. And he draws an outside post position, which I think is favorable given his running style.
Guys, tough to beat Bob Baffert. We knew he was unbeatable when he came to New York on Belmont Day. What do you make of American Anthem?
Well, he's going to have to run back to that race to win, because this is a much, much tougher race, and he can win. I think he and Practical Joke are very much the two horses to beat. Cole Front took advantage of the strongest rail we've had all year when he won last time, and he's a talented horse. But as you say, Phi Beta Express has speed. So does Takaffel. I think Takaffel in some ways is the real wild card in here, because he's 2 for 2 in sprints.
Yeah, and you make a good point, because Takaffel is the kind of horse that has to be ridden to the front end. He's the kind of horse that has to be in front, and then he's dangerous. If he gets pressured early, he sort of folds a little bit, which I can see happen. I thought Gabby made a good point, because American Anthem sits in a great spot. You know, when he lost to Gormley in that tough loss on the rail, I always thought the horse wants to be outside sprinting and raiding, and I think that's what he's going to get. But you make a good point. He's going to have to be used up early. There's some fast horses in there. Phi Beta Express was dynamite last time out, and I think that horse is going to show surprising speed.
Well, he's going to show speed. Maybe the speed of the speed, but Takaffel has to go in here. I'll be interested to see if Bob Baffert's horses come to Saratoga and put on the same exhibition they did on Belmont Stakes Day. I'm a little skeptical.
Part of a tremendous lineup on Travers Day. We can't wait for it on Saturday, but we take a look at the field for the risk-averse. We're 14 minutes to post coming up, and that price getting even shorter now on Cherry Lodge.
Oh, well, she's going to have to work out a trip from the outside post, but I think she can, just because she is so fast, and she was very fast and quick out of the gate last time out. She loved the turf last time out. We'll see if she can keep that undefeated record.
A lot of angles coming up in this race, including some fillies trying the turf for the very first time. With more on that, let's go to Maggie.
Thanks, Greg. And yes, there are several fillies trying the turf for the first time, but there's a difference. And the first thing I look at is we'll take a look at number 8, Danceland, that proverbial turf hoof. And Danceland, to me, certainly has that. And obviously, she's a horse that is proven on the turf. So I'll be checking out horses like Pretty City Dancer, Burned, and a long shot on the rail, Jordan's Henny, to see if they have, well, that proverbial turf hoof and the body style that would be suggestive of a turf horse. Danceland honestly exemplifies what I look for in horses that might take to the turf here, guys. And I'll get back to you and see if they do.
Well, we'll see. Danceland, her only try on the Saratoga turf was a winning effort. 2 back. She actually had a horrible trip. She stumbled at the beginning. She had to go 5 wide, and she was right behind Defiant Honor, the 11 in that start.
And that's why I'm surprised to see such a short price favorite, because I thought that there are several fillies in here that definitely have the opportunity to win, she being one of them.
Well, guys, Cherry Lodge looks like she will be out in front. She was in front every step of the way in that turf debut against Rubelinda. What do you make of her facing now tougher company here this afternoon? Although Rubelinda was so highly regarded for Chad Brown.
I would like to book her every cent bet on her at 8-5. I think she's about as overbet as a horse can be. And I respect her, and we'll see if she clears. I think Jose Lezcano has to be aggressive with the 11, and I think other people have to be a little bit aggressive. Clearing from post 12, going a mile on the inner turf horse is very, very hard to do. But I'll tell you something else, Paul, that's very important for people to understand. Rubelinda was an hour and a half the best in that last race. She got in significant trouble on the backstretch when she was pushed over the inside position, and Cherry Lodge should never have won this race. I'm not knocking her. She's a talented horse, but she should be coming into this race with a second-place finish. And, Paul, would she be 9-5 if she had finished second, beaten 2 lengths by Rubelinda?
That's a good question. You know, Rubelinda probably would be the favorite in this race just because she's a daughter of Frankel. She's well-talented. I'm taking the different approach. And the reason why is I'm going to go back to what Gabby said. When I watched this horse's 3 races on the dirt, they weren't much, but she sprung out of the gate with her ears up. Now you're looking at the 10 Chubby Star. Now you're speaking my style, because if you look at this horse behind Yoshida, who gave bricks and mortar all that she could handle, and you see Proctor's Ledge the last 2 times that has been in her running lines, I think Chubby Star's got a big shot here at 6-1.
Let's head out to Maggie.
And getting back to horses trying the turf for the first time, the one taking the most money, relatively speaking, here in this risk averse is number 5. That is Byrne. Now, it could be because it's West Point, and they do like to bet their horses. But I will say, making her 4th start here for trainer Graham Motion, I like what I'm seeing from her. And physically, you know, from that frame, she certainly has that more angular type of body conformation to her. So she might take to the surface. There isn't much pedigree, though, to suggest and back that case up. She is a Bernardini. It's an okay influence. And on the bottom side, despite the dam first passage being a Giant's Causeway, well, it's been pretty much all dirt routers. So we'll see how she does. Now, in regards to your current heavy favorite in this very big field, that's number 12, Cherry Lodge. I have no complaints about her, and I think she'll be capable of getting this stretch out in distance. She's very tall, very leggy, and a mile with that extra furlong should be well within her wheelhouse, Greg.
Well, we will find out. Andy brought up a good point, and it was a painful race for me to watch again with Rubelinda, but she got in all kinds of trouble in that race. She was absolutely much the best that day, so Cherry Lodge, no doubt, should be coming in off a second-place performance. But she still did wire the rest of that field. She got the job done, and we'll see now if she can carry that speed 2 turns.
And we've also seen speed be very good on the inner turf course.
Here comes our post-parade for the Risk Averse. It's brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. You can go to OCDpellets.com for more information. Here's Jordan's Henny to kick things off, trained by Michael Tomlinson. Kendrick Carmouche rides.
Yeah, big long shot here, 2 for 12 lifetime. Gonna try the turf for the first time. Pretty tough spot to try it.
Live Oak Plantation sends out Let It Ride. Mom, I Ride Ortiz Jr. from Marquesi.
Taking a lot of money off of the 20-1 morning line, now 6-1. Only has 1 turf try, and that was sprinting.
Another Marquesi runner here, sent out by John Oxley.
I don't know, is the
Grade 1
correct ticket this time?
spin-away winner from last year, Julian Leperoux from Marquesi.
Another grade in here, going to try the turf for the first time. She's been battling some tough ones on the main track.
Talaki is the 4 for Shadwell Stable, Luis Saez and Kieran McLaughlin.
Has 2-turn experience and a couple of wins at 2-turn experience as well.
3C Stables and West Point Thoroughbred send out Burned Graham Motion. Rajiv Mirage teamed up.
The third one going to try the turf for the first time. She almost beat Miss Sky Warrior in the Tempted. If she takes the turf, she's got the class.
Bernadiva, sent out by Jake Ballas. Manny Franco aboard for Bill Mott.
She's a filly that will be forwardly placed, and she's coming out of Stakes Company, but is she even good enough in this field?
Fizzy Friday, sent out by Michael House, trained by Ignacio Correas, and Ricardo Santana Jr. rides.
I thought not that bad in the Lake George, a live Lake George last time out, and maybe a live long shot here at 14-1.
Yeah, she slammed into 55 out of the gate in that performance and was 8 wide in the stretch. Here's Danceland. Eric Cancel rides for Shug McGahee.
And coming off a victory last time out, but will try to turn the tables on 2 foes she meets again in Chubby Star and Defiant Honor.
Godolphin Racing sends out Lido. Joel Rosario aboard for Kieran McLaughlin.
Well-bred daughter, Street Cry, Cocoa Beach Dam was a runner, and this filly was giant last time behind a wall of horses and was able to get it done.
Chubby Star set the pace in the Grade 3 Lake George last start, trained by Horatio De Paz, owned by Sagamore Farm with Robbie Alvarado.
She's got a pretty versatile running style. She can go to the lead and she can close. One that I like at a price.
Defiant Honor, trained by Jimmy Toner, owned by Phillips Racing Partnership with Jose Lizcano.
Really no excuse last time, basically as your favorite against the same type of horses. But if you look, she does have a race from the outside where she won, so maybe she wants it on the outside.
And the speedster, here he is, Cherry Lodge for Gainesway Stable. John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher team up.
She beat the likes of Rubelinda last time out, wiring the field. Will have to try to wire the field again today from the outermost post.
Yeah, again, beat Rubelinda with an asterisk. Their very tough trip from Rubelinda, who did not draw into this race. We're going to take a break in the action. Our feature, The Risk Averse, coming up next when Saratoga Live continues. Stay tuned.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus, getting set for our feature. That is The Risk Averse coming up. How do we make money in this race? Andy, help us.
Well, I'm going to bet the 4 here to win Talaki. I think she's a very interesting horse. She draws well towards the inside. I'm wondering if the pace might be a little bit more contentious than some think. She ran very well to run down a loose leader from dead last when nobody else closed to win 2 back. She'll have to improve, but I'm hoping she can for Kieran McLaughlin. And I'll box for the 11. I think the 11, Defiant Honor, is the horse to beat in this race, not Cherry Lodge. And think at this point in the board, Defiant Honor is an outrageous price, and there are overlays galore in this board because Cherry Lodge is a ridiculous 9-5 shot.
So, the lone leader out front will be leading the way here, 9-5. People loving that speedster here on this inner turf course as we take a look at our analysts' selections. Gabby with the 11, Defiant Honor, 7-1 on the board. I tend to agree with you. I like this horse as well.
I love her in here, especially at 7-1. These are the races that you like to bet because Cherry Lodge is being so overbet. But Defiant Honor, she was the favorite in the Lake George against Proctor's Ledge, who came back to win the Lake Placid. That just goes to show you the class that she has. And she has tactical speed. She's going to be forwardly placed. She didn't have much room to sneak through the inside in the Lake George. And she's also a horse that likes to be out in the clear, not covered up. So this post position is actually going to be beautiful for her.
Third off the layoff as well for Defiant Honor this afternoon. Maggie has been all over our fillies making their debut on turf this afternoon, standing by with the connections of another one of those. Let's go back to Maggie.
And here with Rob Messiello, who, as he said it, owned the leg in Burned, along with West Point, along with Andrew Rosen and 3C Stable. And Rob, we're joined by your daughter, Penny, who I scared. Only my daughter is the only one who likes me, so I apologize, Penny. Okay, yes.
Now we're ready.
All right, Rob. Taking a look at Burned, she's a filly that was a good kind of 2-year-old, now kind of searching for an identity. Do you think she'll like the turf?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question. You know, she's out of a Giants Causeway mare, so we think that there's some hope there. You know, Bernadine's had a little bit of success on the turf. There just aren't too many straight three-year-old races this time of year, so it's kind of a good opportunity to just run her. She's running against some very tough fillies the last couple races in the Delaware Oaks and then the Coaching Club American Oaks last month. So this is just a good chance to kind of give her a little bit of class relief and see what happens. And if she runs well, then it opens up a lot of opportunities for us down the road.
It certainly does, and you've had success with matching up with trainer Graham Motion as well. Ring Weekend comes to mind. Rob, you've been on many talented horses. What's been your favorite experience so far as being an owner?
You know, I have to tell you, I have my best friend up here and his family, and I used to come up to Saratoga when I was a kid. So, and as you see, I have a baby. And I think getting to share Saratoga with my friends and family is just something that's very special to me. We went to the backside this morning. We got to see Burned. We got to see some horses at your husband's barn. And it's special. This is a very special place for me. It's a special place for my family. My wife grew up here. So I think that's been the best thing for us.
Well, Rob, keeping it all in the family, and I'm really sorry I scared Penny.
Oh, that's okay. I scare her all the time. Don't worry about it.
Rob, best of luck here with Burned.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Greg, I just got to stick to Grace.
Who knows, Maggie? Maybe it's good luck. We'll see. First time on the turf for Byrne. Again, she's coming out of the Coaching Club American Oaks. Pretty incredible field she had to face last time out. This will be her turf debut ahead. Meanwhile, there is a look at Chubby Star. We mentioned some others had faced Proctor's Ledge last time out. Paul, she did as well. What kind of horse is she, though? We've seen her come from dead last. We've seen her be a stalker. We saw her last time out in the Lake George on the lead.
I think she's a stalker, and the reason why is she had no chance slots in the 12-hole 2 times before, so she just dropped back and made one run. Ricardo got aggressive with her because of her last 2 efforts. Now you're going to get Robbie Alvarado aboard her, and you know, Robbie doesn't mind a little bit of an outside slot. Pretty good turf rider, and I think that he'll sit a decent trip, and she has enough speed. Cherry Lodge goes, and I think she goes with. I cannot believe this horse was 3 lengths behind Proctor's Ledge. You're getting 8-1.
You know, we keep talking about why the 12 is going to clear the lead. I got to tell you, clearing the lead from the 12 post at 1 mile on the inner turf course, and they had turf fast, that requires incredible agility and speed, and I just think it's not a fait accompli. It's going to happen easily.
I don't think the horse needs the lead. How about that?
Well, she'll be last if she doesn't get the lead.
Does not need the lead. Is that what Paul Dukas said? Wow, we'll see. We saw Lido, meanwhile, step in. Kieran McLaughlin runner. He has a couple in this race. 10-1 on the board. I think if you ask 10 different people, you might get 10 different opinions in this race. There is Cherry Lodge. Paula Duca might be the only one who thinks she doesn't need to win on the lead. I think most believe she will be the one in front setting the pace. There's the 6, Bernadiva. Long shot for Belmont. It is the risk-averse coming up. There's the speedster, Cherry Lodge. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the call of the risk-averse, Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off in the risk-averse. And Defiant Honor shoots onto the early lead with Cherry Lodge on the outside. Cherry Lodge grabs the front and scampers away. Gets to the inside, opening up a 4-length lead. Defiant Honor will be second as Cherry Lodge just rolls along into that first turn. And then it's Fizzy Friday running in third by another 2, followed by Bernadiva. Let It Ride Mom on the inside. Danceland Burned is next, and then comes Chubby Star to the outside, followed by Jordan's Henny. Talaki is third last up the backstretch in front of Pretty City Dancer and Lido. 23.67 the quarter for front-running Cherry Lodge and John Velasquez, who head up the backstretch, a 3-length leader. Trying to slow things down, really are too. Cherry Lodge reined back by John Velasquez. Now it's down to a 1.5-length lead. Defiant Honor sits second through a 49.15 half mile. Fizzy Friday third on the inside of Bernadiva, who's fourth, moving for the far turn. And they're followed by Let It Ride Mom and Danceland on the outside, just 5 lengths off the lead. Chubby Star next, Burned on the inside. And then it's Lido. Jordan's Henny is next as they make their way around the far turn. It is Cherry Lodge clinging to a tenuous lead here at the top of the stretch. Defiant Honor ranges up alongside and hooks up with front-running Cherry Lodge and goes on by. Defiant Honor takes the lead, opens up 2. Fizzy Friday into second. Cherry Lodge is third on the inside. Bernadiva follows in fourth. It is Defiant Honor in front. And Defiant Honor and Jose Lezcano will take the risk averse by a length. Fizzy Friday was second, and then it was Bernadiva in a photo between Chubby Star and Cherry Lodge in 135.67.
Defiant Honor, Jose Lezcano, Jimmy Toner take the risk averse here, and that is 2 wins now in the last 3 starts.
Yeah, and a great job here by Jose Lezcano, noticing that the 12 broke outward at the beginning and was just very rank and had to go. So he rode the 11 basically like he was in front, rated this horse very nicely, and just outfinished everybody. Frizzy Friday had a nice trip, took a nice shot at her, but just no match.
And I agree with you completely there, Paul. I thought Defiant Honor, a beautiful trip, just stalking from off of the pace there. 5-1. That was an absolute gift, Andy.
Well, we talked about it beforehand, and let's be fair about the favorite here. She didn't seem to break, and she may have lost her iron after the start and kind of ran off. I know the second quarter was slow, but once she didn't break sharply and then had to run off like that, iron or not, she was compromised. But, you know, we talked about it. She was overbet, and there she is on the far outside. You're going to see her. If we can pop them from the gate, we'll be able to see. They're settling and see exactly what happens here. She seems to hit the gate at this point at the start. She's kind of run off our screen a little bit. I can't tell the irons, not my strength. Maybe somebody can.
Oh, he did look right there for his right foot to try to get the iron. He might have lost it immediately, but what ends up happening when you have a horse like this, Gabby, when you push the button immediately to go, she just went.
Well, it's never a good sign. If we could go actually back to the break again. Yes, she does leave the screen momentarily, but Johnny Velasquez, she almost hits the outside of the gate. He loses his outside iron, and when she comes back on the screen, you can see Johnny Velasquez actually take his hand off the rein and put his foot back in the iron. And obviously with a speed horse like this, you don't want to get out of the gate like that. That led her to probably be a little bit rank going into the first turn.
Could not have gone worse right there out of the gate, but great adjustment from John Velasquez to think on his feet. And having seen that, wow, runs pretty good here, but certainly not what he wanted early on.
Yeah, the other part of this, too, guys, you go back to the gate, the 3 and the 4 got the worst of it, too. We know we were focused on the other horses, but if the 3 and the 4 just lost no chance, Taliki, but you're looking down the stretch, no doubt about the winner. Defiant Honor, confusing race last time out, sat a good trip. And today got the job done.
And it'll be interesting if Maggie can talk to Jimmy Toner after the race a little bit, because she's a horse that may have had some problems during the running of that race last time. And she had run so well in her last race that you didn't want to believe her last race. And the other thing about the Lake George was she lost to some pretty darn good fillies there. And she's a very nice horse for a good trainer.
Defiant Honor with the win. By the way, 11, 7, 6, 10, 44 to 1 shot in third, the Bill Mott filly. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back and wrap up Defiant Honor's win in the risk averse when we come back.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live here on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Defiant Honor, the best of the bunch in the risk-averse, picking up the third career win for this daughter of Speightstown. Having an honor grades merit honor bestowed. $13 for the victory, and then some long shots there. Fizzy Friday and 44 to one shot Bernadiva, completing a trifecta that returns over $700 for a 50-cent play. So let's see what this does to the Naira Bets late pick 5 here. $124,000 in the pool and 3 consecutive races, double-digit numbers.
Not bad. We did have a short price to start things off, but since then we've been getting better and better.
Standing by with the winning connections of Defiant Honor. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Thanks, Greg. Here with winning trainer Jimmy Toner. And Jimmy, Defiant Honor, a filly who was the beaten favorite last time in the Lake George. Was there any apparent excuse that you could come up with? Because obviously there wasn't here today.
Well, she did displace her palate the last time, and she choked up and got entrapped. So we did a surgery on her, throat surgery on her. So evidently it helped because she didn't choke up, she didn't displace today.
And it was that quick of a turnaround where it didn't affect her? Obviously, pretty easy surgery.
No, it's very easy surgery. It's a very, it's non-invasive as that goes, and they recover quite quickly from it. She never missed any days of training, so we're able to get her back on again, and she breathes well twice since the race. So I was pretty confident they're going in today.
And do you kind of step back into Graded Stakes company off of this effort?
Yeah, I'd like to give it a try. Yeah, we're going to give it a try.
And how special was it winning the risk-averse, given the fact that you took turns beating each other with Wonder Again?
That's right, we did. So, in fact, on the way over, Pat said, I hope you win it so I can give you the trophy. We had many a match together.
It was very cool. Very nice to watch both of those horses back in the day and to watch Defiant Honor here today. She was very dominant. Jimmy, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Maggie.
All right, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. Brilliant performance here from Defiant Honor. And well done with Jose Lezcano and that Barn and Phillips Racing partnership getting the victory in our feature race. Still another race to come, and of course we still have a huge weekend ahead. It is Travers Week, a loaded undercard. We're on at a special early time, 2 Eastern on Saturday on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus and various regional outlets across the country. Our card will include on Saratoga Live, Personal Ensign with Songbird and Forever Unbridled, the Ballerina, the Alan Jerkins, and Mind Your Biscuits and Dre Fong in the Forego. Again, 2 Eastern early start time for us on Saturday. As for the Grade 1 Alan Jerkins field, let's take a look at the group that will line up. Practical Joke actually going to cut back in distance for trainer Chad Brown.
And all along, Chad Brown was kind of mentioning that, well, if you have a good horse that's been showing up, going a distance of ground during some of the Triple Crown preps, well, you're going to keep on going down that route. Good performance in the Haskell, but this is where he belongs, turning back to one turn.
Of course, the Alan Jerkins, formerly known as the King's Bishop. Run Happy set a stakes record right here at Saratoga in the King's Bishop a few years ago. He is, of course, settled in now to his new home as a stallion, as part of the roster at Claiborne. Here's a story of how he wound up there and how he is doing in his new career.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most famous stalls in maybe Central Kentucky, maybe the country or the world even. You know, it had Bold Ruler, Secretariat, Unbridled. Now it has Run Happy, so we can see if we can continue on with the tradition.
Well, we bought Run Happy at the Keeneland sale several years ago and bought him for $200,000, so best investment I ever made.
You should go back and watch his maiden race. He like bolted to the outside and came back in, and there's no point, there's no reason he should have won that race. I think he even got left at the gate, maybe. Obviously, he was very green. It was his first start.
He was all over the track, but still won by 8 lengths, so that was very impressive. He's a drug-free horse. We think sports ought to be drug-free, so we try to practice what we preach.
To have a horse that was medication-free throughout his career speaks volumes. I mean, you know, most of them have to have a little something every now and again. That makes him pretty unique in today's world to run at the level he did for the period of time he did it. But I think the race that probably really got our attention was the King's Bishop in Saratoga that year. And that kind of, it's like, you know, when he rebroke at the top of the stretch, and opened up and won as easy as he did. It's like, wow, okay. Yeah, this horse is for real.
Can get him. Run Happy has won the NYRA.com King's Bishop by 4.
Certainly one of the highlights of my life was watching him on the screen there at NYRA go across the finish line first to the King's Bishop Grade 1. So at that point, we knew we had a real racehorse.
To go up to Saratoga and win the King's Bishop like he did and run away with it and win so impressively, and then come here and, you know, his saddle slipped at the race in Keeneland and he still won, and then it looked like he was a loser in the Breeders' Cup, but he fought on and his game and the determination he had was really impressive.
Way behind at the top of the stretch, and then he made an amazing run down there and won the Breeders' Cup race. That was the Breeders' Cup Sprint champion, new track record at Keeneland, so we couldn't be prouder to have Run Happy and have him stand at Claiborne Farms. That is myself and my daughter's happy place. We love Claiborne Farms, and Run Happy loves being there.
The horse to do what he did and run that fast and be so talented, they just don't come around very often, so we felt like he was a stallion prospect that we needed to have in our roster.
The Malibu was a big race for Run Happy, the end of his 6-race winning streak, and so no horse had ever won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. They come back and won the Malibu, you know, a month and a half later. So that was kind of a gamble. We wanted to put him in the Malibu, and he won that with Gary Stevens aboard pretty easy. So that was another great race.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
He won at Keeneland, he won at Santa Anita, he won at Saratoga, several of the legendary places in horse racing, and what a great horse, what a great thrill it was to be around Run Happy and now to follow his stud career.
You know, so we're really glad to have Run Happy, and you know, that stall was empty when it came time to recruit him to be a stallion here, and the owners are big fans of Secretariat, so it was kind of a natural draw, and one of the big selling points, I guess, maybe that's why we got him, I don't know. But it certainly helped, I'm sure.
Old Ruler, Secretariat, Unbridled, easy goer. Run Happy. He's going to have to earn his spot on that door to stay on that door.
That is pretty incredible company that he is keeping, that stall that he's getting introduced with there at Claiborne. His debut, Gabby, it was almost like he was announcing to the entire world, I'm here, I'm a serious racehorse, but it was entertaining as well, the way he did it.
It was. He didn't break well. He rushed up. He lugged out. He went all over the racetrack. There was no stone unturned there on the racetrack, but he still won, and that just speaks to his incredible talent. And he was very fast, and you love to see fast horses in their progeny. It usually means that they're going to be pretty precocious, so I'm excited to see his progeny soon.
And Paul, it didn't matter what was thrown his way. That Phoenix before the Breeders' Cup that year, saddle slip, broke dead last, facing the defending Breeders' Cup champion. He still went on to win.
Yeah, and despite what was going on in the train department, too, I mean, he was an amazing type of horse. His debut was unbelievable, but I always look back to that Breeders' Cup Sprint. I never, ever, and I was a fan of Private Zone, never saw him got run by whenever he had a clear lead in the stretch. Run Happy ran by him easily. He always put up a fight, but on that day, Private Zone with a clear lead, it was just no match to the brilliance of Run Happy.
Such a fun racehorse to watch do his thing. Undefeated as a sprinter, never ran on Lasix or any drug of any sort, and now we can't wait to see his progeny on the racetrack as well. We want to thank Run Happy as being a sponsor of Saratoga Live throughout our season here at the Spa and Claiborne Farm as well for supporting the show. We're going to take a break of the action. We'll be back. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, ahead of Travers Day, we have the New York Showcase Day. 6 New York bred stakes, part of the schedule. That is what we have for you on Friday in the lead up to Travers Saturday. We'll be back with the nightcap next.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new NYRA Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish. From a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. NYRA Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download NYRA Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before.
Back on Saratoga Live. Getting set for the nightcap coming up here, approaching the 15-minute mark to post here for the finale on the card. It will be 2-year-olds going 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. New York bred maiden special weight, wide open group. And we're going to start with a first-time starter in here for Shug McGahee, son of Data Link news anchor.
And not only do I love the name, but this horse definitely has a shot is taking money on the board right now. And it is a question mark what first-time starters can show up. And generally speaking, Shug McGahee doesn't really pop with his first-time starters going to distance the ground on the turf. But I love the pedigree here. And this horse just looks like one to potentially use. I think he's kind of met the right field today.
With more on the first-time starter, I'm Andy Serling.
I just think it's important to point out is Shug McGahee, one of the greatest trainers of our lifetime, if not forever. I believe it's 0 for 19 with 2-year-old first-time stars going around the ground over the last 5 years. And Paul, I think only 2 have hit the board. So pedigree or not, Shugs usually need a start.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's a tough. I can understand what Gabby's saying because this race is
crying out for a horse.
Yeah, crying out for a horse that hasn't run. And when I look at the 5 Funky Monkey, it's one of those races. At the end of the race, if this horse wins, you're like, okay, on paper, he should have won.
Well, the reason people are betting the 5 is the horse's experience and finished third.
And it wasn't an awful race.
And there's really nothing.
Yeah.
Ran okay.
Okay, yeah.
He got a great trip. He got a 53 buyer. It's a good starting point. It was 1 mile and 1/16 first time out. It's not a career-defining race. And he's absolutely the horse to beat in this race. The problem is, as you say, if somebody's got some pedigree or some talent, like they're going to beat him. Now, Fun Prospect, the 8 we're looking at for Graham Motion, I thought this horse got a good educational experience on the turf the first time out, and being a son of Patio Prado should improve stretching out. The shocking thing is this stat from Graham Motion, where he's just 8% with 8 winners and 102 starters, stretching out turf horses, maidens, and I think that's a little bit of a concern.
It is a tiny bit of concern, and you might need a therapist who beat him last time out after trying to handicap this race. But I would think Graham's thinking, okay, this colt has broke sharp twice, showed speed on a sloppy racetrack. Let's put the blinkers on, go long, and go to the front.
Perhaps. That's a very good point, except this horse was actually entered in a turf sprint not long ago and didn't get in off the also eligible. So maybe Graham's just trying to find a race for him, but it's not going to take a Herculean effort to win. It's one of the reasons I picked the 4, now a factor on top in this race. Out of respect for Mike Maker, and the 4 now a factor, and I'm very curious what Maggie thinks. The Dam was 2 for 12 in the turf, 5 times hitting the board.
And now a factor, as you were saying, Andy, certainly has a bit of turf pedigree, as you alluded to. I'm okay with it. The main thing with him is that he is getting the distance. He's a very big, long, scopy type of horse who is fit in here. Now, he's a little bit bad to saddle, so one to pay attention to out on the track. I will do just that and make sure he acts professional throughout his time before going in the gates. Now, another first-time starter is News Anchor. We don't see Shug McGahee with too many New York bred 2-year-old first-time starters, but this guy looks very well suited to the conditions. Certainly took a little, and number 4 going back to now a factor is very, very green here, trying to get the rider on. So mentally, he might need a start, but professional in his debut is News Anchor here. He's certainly got the Ron Burgundy professionalism going on. Good-looking son of Data Link. I think he's very, very fit here. I know Shug is not known for his first-time starters, but I think this guy could get a piece of it in debut. Now, moving on to some that have run. Number 8 is Fun Prospect. Adds blinkers here for Graham Motion. I've always thought that he'll want to go longer. Based upon his first 2 efforts, he's a big, long-legged type, and I am confident in him getting the distance here as just a shortcut blinker goes on. Now, an interesting horse is number 3, who's on his way out to the track, and Bourbon for me for Arch Kingsley, who will get on the turf. He's definitely a turf horse, and he'll stretch out. He's much more fit and much more keyed into what's about to happen in his second start as he gets Lasix. And guys, there's only 3 tickets alive in the pick 6. Our good friend Lee Einsiedler and his son, well, they're alive only to the 3. Greg?
Gotta be rooting for Lee Einsiedler. Well done. We'll see if he can close and finish here with Bourbon. For me, it was out of a Langfear mare, so some turf pedigree there on the bottom side. Of course, Lee of Casamigos fame, and we had him on our show just the other week, winning with Mowbridge.
Absolutely, and best of luck to him. No, that I thought that this horse is very intriguing at a price. He's out of a mare who actually won first time out against maiden special weight. Where? Here, Saratoga.
Interesting. Do you agree with this? I mean, no one in this race should be 9 to 5.
No. Totally agree with that. And it's just because of experience, and this horse finished third against decent company last time out.
I'm still upset the guys downstairs didn't get my Ron Burgundy reference. Post parade coming up here for the nightcap. Mile and a 16th on the turf for 2-year-olds, and we start with Wicked Huntsman Dylan Davis, Mitchell Friedman.
This horse goes out for Mitch Friedman from a dam that produced a turf winner, but it's more of a turf pedigree.
Can't We All Get Along is the 2 trained by Gary Contessa. Luis Saez aboard.
This horse has put blinkers on the last 2 times. I think we'll improve today with some route experience.
Bourbon for Me. Arch Kingsley sends this one out. Son of Congaree with Junior Alvarado.
Greg Wolf is rooting for him, rooting against his friends down here in this set who don't have him. I didn't see a ton of pedigree, and it's a Congaree. First time on the turf, not for me.
Now a factor is the 4. It's a rider change. Julian Leperoux aboard for trainer Mike Maker.
You know, the Factor's gotten off to a good start with his turfers. Okay so far. This horse been not working well in the morning, but that's been over dirt, running over the green today.
8 to 5 favorite. Here is Phone Funky Monkey for David Dunk with Outright Ortiz Jr.
Has the experience, ran okay in his debut. If there are no good firsters in here, first time on the turf, then Phone Funky Monkey will likely win.
4-1 on News Anchor, the first-time starter, son of Data Link, trained by Shug Bagehi with Manny Franco.
You've done a good job as a news anchor. You're just a mustache away from looking like Ron Burgundy, Greg.
Thank you, Paul. English Channel. Blinkers go on, son of English Channel for Gary Contessa.
An annoying name for announcers and a horse that did no running in its turf races.
Fun prospect. I'm going to get Paulie back for that one. Blinkers go on for Graham Motion and the stretch out.
You know, the blinkers go on. I think this horse is going to try to get to the front end here. I look for Rajiv to get aggressive early.
Nate Can't Wait. It's Dominic Schettino, Luis Reyes.
The dam actually was a 4-time winner on the turf, so there is some pedigree. She produced 1 foal that did not win on the turf.
And long shot Bankers Island, trained by Michael Dilger, Eric Cancel aboard.
A little bit under 47 to 1 last time. Actually, Michael Dilger's pretty good on this move, but a long shot that needs to improve.
There is a look at your 9 to 5 favorite in here. He has experience, and he has experience routing on the turf here at Saratoga. Finished 3rd, hitting the board in his debut. So we'll see how start number 2 goes here for trainer David Donk with this son here of Data Link, who of course won the Maker's 46 mile. He was by Warfront, set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. He would go on to win the Grade 2 Citation that year as well, as you see him on the farm in Paris, Kentucky. Won as a juvenile, but it was really in his 4-year-old campaign when he kind of came into his own.
And that's usually when we see good horses get into their own, and the longer that they stay in racing, the better they get. And he actually sends out 2 horses in here. His progeny has been very good thus far.
Yeah, News Anchor as well, son of Data Link, will be making his debut. Here's Bourbon for Me, trained by Arch Kingsley with more on this one. Let's go to Maggie.
Here in the paddock, joined by his trainer, Bourbon for Me. And Arch, he's a horse that you could tell he was just kind of swimming in the mud last time. You get him on the turf as you intended to, but you stretch him out. How do you think he'll handle the distance?
He's fit. He's going to handle the distance fine. I'm not worried about that. He's been training really well since the last race. He trained well up to the last race, and I knew we were sunk when it came off the grass, but the original intention was to give him that one so we could bring him back later in the meet and hopefully have a chance, and hopefully that's today.
All right. Well, did you hear me say that there's a guy, an owner here, that's alive only to your horse in the pick 6?
And he came up to me in the paddock just to put that pressure on. And he's a friend of mine, incidentally, too. So that would make it all the sweeter.
Well, Lee's certainly a friend of all of ours, that's for sure. But Arch, if people don't know your background, you've been known to ride a jump race. And looking at you, you look as though you're fit enough to ride a jump race. I know you're not sending any out here at Saratoga, but are you going to have any at the hunt meets later on in the fall?
I sure hope so. That's always the design. And I hope my daughter's not watching. I'm not going to ride any more races, Taylor. Don't worry.
Oh, well, we would love to see it, but you are a busy man getting on 9 horses a day down there at Monmouth. Wishing you the best of luck here at Bourbon for Me, Arch.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Maggie, thanks. We all got to root for Bourbon for Me a little bit here.
Absolutely, and I'm rooting for Arch, too. He's a good friend of mine and my family's. He does a great job from Middleburg, Virginia. So all the best to the 3.
7-1 on Bourbon for me. We do have a late scratch, by the way, the 9. Nate Can't Wait coming out of this race, so take out the 9. We'll be back with more in just a moment. The nightcap here from Saratoga. 2-year-olds going a mile and 16th on the turf when we come back.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
Back on Saratoga Live, that is Luis Reyes. You need a mount if you're going to ride in the race, and he does not have one. So Nate Can't Wait, scratched from the race, actually ran off. Great news, though, Outriders caught up with the horse, so it's going to be another day for Nate Can't Wait.
It looks like he's under control there with some of the Outriders, and good to see that. But a late scratch, if you liked Nate Can't Wait, you're going to have to wait for another day.
So 3 minutes to post here in our finale coming up, and really the board has not moved on the 5. Phone Funky Monkey, still the 8-5 favorite here off that third beat, 7 lengths, but has the experience of not only a race, but of running long on the grass here at Saratoga.
There are things to like about this horse, and you can also play devil's advocate. So Phone Funky Monkey, yes, he has 2-turn experience, and it was okay, but it's never a good thing to lose by 7 lengths on the turf.
No, it is not. Or then to make the horse 8-5 off of that performance, a little strange as well.
I don't disagree. It's sort of like because they can't make a case for anybody else, the money just sort of floods in. And I get that because you're looking at pedigrees, you're sort of guessing here, and I can understand that. But the truth is, don't you feel that there's like a reasonable likelihood that one of these first-time turfers or a stretch out is going to run well enough to beat the 5? And maybe just because I'm a fatalist because it's one of 3 I have in the pick 4.
Yeah, I'm with you. The bottom side of the pedigree just worries me. Trust and luck, no turf, all sprint. The stretch out, to me, is a little suspect. But, you know, when David... So, you know, stretch horse out of it. Yeah, that's what the thing. That's why I never thought the horse would want to go long and ran well. You know, you can make a case. Okay, if you like the 5 at 9-5, I get the 2 was behind. But that horse was headstrong most of the way. You can argue that the 2 is a good proposition. Now, the 4, now a factor, starting to get money. And again, you pay attention to these workout reports. They'll put you in a hurt locker. This horse has not been working good, but a different surface and starting to take late money.
And money to me here is more significant than anything. Often it's the horses that aren't bet that should be, but money here has been very smart, especially at this meet.
Yeah, these are the kind of races, too, where you sort of want to let the tote board help you out a little bit, although I don't know if it really is in this race because all the money is going to Phone Funky Monkey in here. I think everyone, Andy's right, going to sort of by default as we get a look at the horse coming out of the same race as the 5. This is Can't We All Get Along, who Paul mentioned a little headstrong in that first out effort going long on grass.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 starts on dirt weren't bad, and the horse got bet last time out with the blinkers on, and, didn't break great, and Le Peru tried to rate, and, listen, he wanted no part of rating. I thought he actually liked the turf a little bit. So I'm wondering if Louis lets him go from the inside. You got a bunch of horses here, and when you debut going long, you're probably debuting your horse because you don't have a ton of speed.
Well, that's usually the case, very much so. And listen, Funky Monkey ran fine in that race. I'm guessing with the 4 here because I respect Mike Maker. The Dam's a turf winner. The Factor's been a proficient turf sire so far, and I didn't want to pick the 5 on top. I want to take somebody else because I figured the 5 would be a short price. The other one was the 8 Fun Prospect, but because of that lousy stat from Graham Motion, I sort of went off that horse, especially at a shortish price. I wouldn't go off a horse because of a stat if the horse was a big price, but you knew that Fun Prospect would probably be second choice here.
Yeah, and this is the thing the problem I have, and I'll take this upstairs. How in the heck is the 2 7-1 and the 3's 8-1?
Yeah. Well, there's some turf pedigree there.
47 length loser.
I was on dirt.
Wait a second, guys. You say there's some turf pedigree. The Dam was 0 for 4 on the grass, and it's a congaree. It's not exactly screaming, boy, get me on the turf. I'm a lawnmower.
He does have a point. It's a tough race. I mean, Andy's knocking my top selection for Shug McGahee being 0 for 19. He's 7%.
Your horse has way better shot than that
but
horse.
But now
Gab.
a Factor for Mike Maker. He's about 12% with first-time starters going long on the turf. So it really is just kind of a guessing game. And Andy, you were talking about the poor stats that Graham Motion showcases with the 8 Fun Prospect. But didn't he win with this type of move with Untamed Domain
as
a few weeks ago?
heavy favorite earlier in the meet? I said he's 8%. Not saying he can't do it. It's cause for cause. I'm not knocking your 6 horse, Gabby. I'm just pointing out that Shug McGahee has no success over the last 5 years in these circumstances. I'm not knocking the pick. The 6 could absolutely win here.
Still 8-5. It is Phone Funky Monkey for David Donk. The horse to beat on the board for those alive in the pick 6. For the Naira Bets late pick 5. Good luck to everybody. We hope you cash. Here we go. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Just one left to load here, and it's Banker's Island who will take the outside stall. Little hesitant to move into the starting gate. Here's Banker's Island as Phone Funky Monkey maintains favoritism. Just went up to 2-1 on the tote board here as the assistant starters work on Banker's Island to take this outside stall. Banker's Island coming forward. And almost in there, is backed out once again. Eric Consell getting off of Banker's Island. They will attempt to load him in without the jockey.
Well, Gabby's Banker's Island, who's causing these issues. You see Eric Cancel hops off. So what's the best case scenario here with the starting gate crew?
He goes in just like that.
Nice. That's all it took. So loads back in. Eric Consell hops back aboard, and we're ready for a start. Let's go back to Larry Colmus.
Eric Consell is taking his position now, and we are just about set. All in line, ready for a start. They're off. And it is Now a Factor who comes out running well. Bourbon for Me goes with Now a Factor early, and English Chanical is away running in third. Fun Prospect is fourth. Bankers Island is going up on the far outside, and Can't We All Get Along has the inside. And then it's News Anchor, Phone Funky Monkey near the back of the pack early on. The trailer is Wicked Huntsman, and the opening quarter mile on to the backstretch is led by front-running Bourbon for Me, who did it in 22.45 seconds and leads the way by 2. Now a Factor on the outside second. Can't We All Get Along follows them in third. English Chanical is fourth on the outside. News Anchor fifth up the backstretch, 5 lengths off the lead. Clear 2 of Wicked Huntsman, who's moved up a couple of spots. Bankers Island's on the far outside. Then Fun Prospect and Phone Funky Monkey. The favorite is down on the inside, about 7 lengths off the lead after a 46.3 half mile set by Bourbon for Me and Junior Alvarado. They're out there by 3.5, moving for the far turn. Can't We All Get Along is second. Now a Factor third. Phone Funky Monkey's made progress now. Fourth on the inside. 3 lengths off the lead and sticks right to the hedge around the turn. News Anchor is next by 2. And then it's Fun Prospect and English Chanical. Still Bourbon for Me the leader, but Phone Funky Monkey angles to the outside and goes on by. At the top of the stretch, Phone Funky Monkey has taken the lead and sprints clear by 3. News Anchor has moved up into second. Bourbon for Me gives way in third. Fun Prospect is fourth. Phone Funky Monkey clear from News Anchor, who's trying to close in. Racing a bit greenly there in second, but closing the gap with every stride and runs out of time. Phone Funky Monkey by a neck over News Anchor. Then it was Fun Prospect in third. English Chanical fourth in 141.82.
Phone Funky Monkey gets the win as a 9-5 favorite. I don't think anyone thought Bourbon for Me was going to be the horse out in front of the lead. That was the case, however. In the end, though, it's the 2-year-old by Data Link who gets a win for David Donk.
What a difference surface makes, as you're mentioning, Greg. Bourbon for Me just showed absolutely no speed on the main track, but was the pace setter in here today and went pretty quickly up front. We saw the 5 Phone Funky Monkey kind of make a little bit of an early move to get into position at the quarter pole, and it definitely paid off. News Anchor, though, the first-time starter for Shug McGahee, I thought it was a very good performance. Just guys ran out of real estate.
Yeah, well, News Anchor was a little bit green in this race, too, and kind of ran in spots. The 5 was more professional. I think this is a good race to use an example of the value of experience.
He might have been lucky here, Andy. Manuel Franco lost the whip on the 6 here. I want you guys to look late here. Watch Manny Franco on the 6 here and News Anchor. He's patting this horse, just smacking the horse right-handed. Right here, look. Oh, I got no whip. I got no whip.
He's still.
Oh,
I don't think
you're so lucky.
I don't think the whip cost him the race.
They're going to lent this horse a whip. Yeah. I want to see where he lost it. Okay, here you can see right here, right-handed. Now, Funky Monkey's in front. Watch him guard it to the right hand. Boom, it's gone. And I don't know. The race is over with. You could see Manuel Franco trying to hit the horse left-handed, smacking away about 4 or 5 times on some horse flesh there, Greg.
Improvise when possible, and not able to get it done that time. 5, 6, 8, 7 finish, and like we said all along, Phone Funky Monkey, logical 9-5 favorite.
You think
we didn't say that at all. I'm kidding.
No, we didn't. Totally. Do you think Manny Franco's hand is stinging a little bit right now?
Yeah, it might be. Phone Funky Monkey gets the win. Irad Ortiz Jr., David Donk. We'll be back to wrap this race up when we come back. Stay tuned.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm. Kentucky Derby winner Orb has emerged as one of the nation's most promising young stallions. The leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds, his first runners are off to a fast start. His debut winners have dazzled on the track, scoring on both dirt and turf. In the sales ring, his yearlings continue to command top prices, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Outstanding value, outstanding results, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live. My horse is faster than your horse. I want one of those. Phone Funky Monkey takes the nightcap, $5.80 for the win. News anchor. Not bad, they're running second. Lost the whip, as Paul LaDuca mentioned. Fun prospect rounding out the trifecta there and getting third place money. For more, let's go to Maggie.
And Data Links running 1-2 here. I'm joined by trainer Dave Donk. Phone Funky Monkey here. Dave, a horse that, this is a freshman sire. What do you think of his progeny so far?
Yeah, I liked him a bit last year, and I liked some of the 2-year-olds we saw that sells. This is a pretty useful colt. I like Shug's horse. He might beat me next time.
Well, Dave, congratulations. He held off, and you had a big crew here in the winner's circle.
Yeah, it's obviously Saratoga, a special place. It's fun to watch all of them.
Congrats.
Thanks.
All right, Greg.
David Donk is having a nice meet. It started the end of Belmont. He started to really heat up. It has carried over here to Saratoga. Want to remind everybody, New York Showcase Day, that is what we have for you tomorrow. 6 New York bred stakes. Tune in at 4 Eastern time. Travers Saturday. We will have the personal ensign ballerina Alan Jerkins at Forgo special early time. 2 Eastern on Saturday. Be sure to join us for Travers Day lead up at that special time on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus. Feature race this afternoon. It was the risk averse, and it was Defiant Honor for trainer Jimmy Toner, Phillips Racing Partnership, and Jose Lezcano getting the money. 3rd win in 6 career starts. A daughter of Speightstown in the winner's circle and beating a nice field of 3-year-old fillies. We will see you on Friday, and again, a special early start time on Saturday, 2 Eastern for Travers Day coverage.